Ready? Good afternoon, everyone. The Sacramento City Council will please come to order. Would the clerk call the roll, please, to establish a quorum?
Thank you. Councilmember Kaplan. Here. Councilmember Laloe. Here. Councilmember Talamontes. Here. Councilmember Valenzuela. Here. Councilmember Maple. Here. Vice Mayor Guerra. Here. Councilmember Jennings. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Vang. Here. And Mayor Steinberg.
I am here. Good afternoon to everyone. Councilmember Kaplan, would you mind give us the honor of leading us in the land acknowledgement and the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Please rise for the opening acknowledgments in honor of Sacramento's indigenous peoples and tribal lands. To the original people of this land, the Nisenan people, the Southern Maidu, the Valley and Plains Miwok, Patwin Wintun peoples, and the people of the Wilton Rancheria, Sacramento's only federally recognized tribe. May we acknowledge and honor the Native people who came before us, still walk beside us today on these ancestral lands by choosing to gather today an active practice of acknowledgement and appreciation for Sacramento's indigenous people's history, contributions, and lives. Thank you. Please remain standing and join us in the pledge. Pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Councilmember Kaplan. Again, a very good afternoon to everyone, my colleagues, the city staff, and always most importantly, the members of the public that are here in the audience and also viewing this either online or on television. Very glad for you to be with us tonight. We begin with a couple of special presentations, and as I understand it, we're going to begin first with, with
I can go first.
presentation number 1, recognizing World AIDS Day.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mayor
Thank
Pro
you so
Tem Vang.
much.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mayor. As you all know, this Friday will mark December 1st, World AIDS Day. And today I have the opportunity of presenting a resolution for an incredible organization that is doing the hard work really to support hundreds of our youth families impacted by HIV/AIDS in the Sacramento region, and that is Sunburst Projects. Sunburst was founded in 1982 by Dr. Gary De La Rosa as what began as a summer camp for children with cancer, quickly pivoted to fill the need of children diagnosed with HIV and AIDS. On Friday, our city buildings throughout the city will be lighting up in red to remember all of those who have passed and survived from AIDS. I do want to take this moment to really just say thank you to city staff for their work on this. Amy Williams, Matt Erdman, Matt Voyer, Michael Jasso, and Ryan Moore for working closely with Sunburst to make sure that we make this a reality. And I like to take a few minutes, Mayor, just to read a few whereases, not all of them, and then I would love for the opportunity for our fierce leader from Sunburst, Jake, to say a few words. So whereas Sunburst provides services to over 350 individuals each year with wraparound services such as medical case management, mental health counseling and services, healthcare coordination and access, an array of social support services. And whereas Sunburst is committed to ending the HIV epidemic through education and prevention, and as part of the commitment established by Sunburst Clinic, which offers free and confidential HIV and STD testing, along with HIV counseling and education, which resulted in over 5,500 individual tests being conducted to those seeking services can know their HIV and STD status in the past year. And whereas Sunburst's goal is to promote health, wellness, and social justice through services that strengthen and empower individuals and families to ensure that those living with and or affected by HIV/AIDS reach their highest potential. Now, therefore, let it be resolved by the mayor and the city council of the city of Sacramento that in honor of World AIDS Day 2023, we do hereby recognize and commend Sunburst Project for its commitment to providing critical needed support and services for over 35 years to those who are living with and or affected by HIV while working to end the HIV epidemic through prevention and education. And I would love for Jake to come up here and say a few words.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you so much for this incredible honor. 40 years later, I'm standing here representing our community because it's an epidemic that's 40 years long. People are still being diagnosed today through our organization and many in Sacramento being HIV positive. That's astounding. 40 years later, we still have an epidemic that we're fighting. It just boggles me. But that's because not enough people know their status. 1 in 7 of those living with HIV do not know they're HIV positive. That's 1 out of every 7. So if all of you are HIV positive, 2 of you would not know your status. Our work today continues because of that reason. We're lucky as a nonprofit here in Sacramento to be able to work with a community that is thriving today because of antiretrovirals. But the fact is that those that are on the antiretrovirals are not the ones that don't know their status. It's the rest of them that we're working towards. So on Friday, we get to honor those that lost their lives and those that are living with, and also recognize those that don't know. Sunburst has a couple really unique programs, and I just want to touch on 2 of them because I think they would be interesting for you guys. We are lucky as a nonprofit to have a quilt work of funding that comes to us through federal grants, and one of those is the HOPWA funding, Housing for People Living with HIV and AIDS. We're a subrecipient of the Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency, and I'm proud to say that this year we have helped 52 of our clients maintain their housing because of that funding. That's 52 clients that wouldn't have housing today, most likely, and would be living on the streets if it wasn't for that. So we appreciate the support from all of you to keep that funding going. We know that as long as that kind of work is happening and that we're able to access that, we can help our clients. The other really unique program we have is our mental health services. We've provided over 4,500 free hours of mental health and behavioral health services to those living with HIV in Sacramento. And it's because of grants and private donations that we're able to do that without accessing funds from insurance that stop us from having the opportunity to provide as much care as we possibly can for those clients that are living with HIV. So again, I want to thank you all on the heels of this week that we celebrate coming up to World AIDS Day, a night where we honor those of our community. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Jake,
Councilmember.
Stay up
Go ahead.
here. We have a few more comments, and then you'll come and take a photo.
Okay. See Councilmember.
And your
Allen.
entire staff, too.
Yeah.
Come up.
Yeah, I hope you'll come up for
All
the
in.
photo, all of you. It's been, I tell you, meeting Sunburst has been such an eye-opener and learning more about your programs. And I have to recognize that every time I go to your office, it's gotten bigger. Like literally you've like knocked out walls and you're just slowly consuming the entire floor of where you are. And every time I'm around your staff and your programs, I feel love. You know, it's just such, you've managed to curate such an incredible organization that's doing work that so many people forget is still so necessary. And so I'm really excited. I know the mayor, I believe, and I are going to be at the press conference on Friday, and really just to continue to elevate the need for people to get tested. But we also, I have to say, because I'm a bragger, that the city team played in your golf tournament, and we won on behalf of the city. So I hope folks will check out your website and learn how to get involved, because there's 100 different ways, I think, to volunteer and to contribute and to participate, because it is just an incredible community that you've cultivated at Sunburst. And I just want to thank you for opening that to me in the way that you have. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
Very nice.
Thank you so much, Councilmember Valenzuela. And then with that note, I also want to say today is Giving Tuesday. We have less than 7 hours to go. So if you're looking for a nonprofit to donate, you can donate a Sunburst in honor of World AIDS Day. So with that, I'll head down for a
Thank
quick
you.
photo.
Thank you, Sunburst. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We get to go there.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Good. Let's go now to presentation number 2, recognize International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, presented by Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor Steinberg. And today in the audience, I have the chair of the Sacramento County Commission on Women and Girls, which was created almost 2 years ago. This past Saturday was the United Nations recognition of elimination of violence against women. But one of the things that the Sacramento County Commission on Women and Girls is promoting is called Cities for CEDAW, which is the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, which includes violence, healthcare, social justice, and many other things, of which the Sacramento County Commission on Women and Girls is taking the lead. And it's taking the lead for Sacramento County and all of the cities on adopting the principles, because this was a treaty adopted in 1979. President Carter signed it, and the United States has not ratified it. Just as much as 100 years later, the United States has not ratified the Equal Rights Amendment. So what our national leaders have failed to do, I think we as a city need to recognize the organizations that are promoting how do we create equality and eliminate violence and discrimination against women, of which Sacramento County Commission on Women and Girls is taking the lead. So I am, and there are already 55 cities in the United States who have adopted this, approximately 20 in California. The city of Sacramento is already leading on many of the principles that CEDAW espouses. And I look forward, along with many others, as well as Elk Grove and West Sacramento and other cities, on finding ways how we can remove barriers of violence against women, which we know 1 in 4 women experience violence in their lifetime with partners and others, as well as how do we address wage disparity and many other forms of discrimination that women experience. So I would love to invite Erin Sabiri and Yatin Campbell, who is a member, as well as any other members of the Sacramento County Commission on Women and Girls, up to say a couple words.
Thank you, Councilwoman Kaplan, and hello, members of the council and Mr. Mayor. I'm here with Rachel Rios, Commissioner Rachel Rios, and Commissioner Yatin Campbell, who we are representatives from your county commission on the status of women and girls. We want to acknowledge the extraordinary work that this city has done, that you have done over the last 4 to 5 years, an audit of the city and your workforce. You have had wonderful leadership on childcare that is now helping the county to take up leadership. And you've done so much, and this is a next step extension. As Councilwoman Kaplan said, CEDAW is an international treaty. It has moved the world in many ways, and I want to share with you a little bit of its impact around the world. It has helped in the development of citizenship rights in Botswana and Japan, inheritance rights in Tanzania, property rights and political participation in Costa Rica, law and gender equality in Mongolia, domestic violence laws in Turkey, Nepal, South Africa, the Republic of Korea, a national inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women in Canada, anti-trafficking laws throughout the world. So why do we need it here when I'm looking at a dais that is more women than men, when we know that women are being educated today in the United States and in California at higher rates than men? Why do we need something like CEDAW? Why here? Why now? And I think the answer is in some of the stats that Councilwoman Kaplan represented, 1 in 4 women. But it also lies in this context of the fact that we are a rule of law nation, and that under the law, we women, even though you're on the dais, do not have the same equal rights yet as the men on the dais. And, you know, we're not law professors, some of you are, I know, but we can talk about what that means and that you can get elected and whatnot. But as we know in trying times, things can change beneath our feet in any moment. And so women need to continue to stand. And 100 years after we've won the right to vote, less years for some of our sisters, we are still not safe in our homes and on the streets. We are still making less on the dollar than men. Our employment is still below what it has been before COVID. And a 2020 gender equity report about women in the United States found that on every indicator considered women's progress relative to men has slowed in the last 10 years. And in some cases, progress has stalled entirely. In every area except educational attainment, where women are now ahead of men, a slowdown or stall has occurred, and gender inequality still favors men. The onset of COVID has highlighted the need for a gender lens on social services because women have borne the brunt of the economic and health downturn. So I want to thank Councilwoman Kaplan for bringing this to your attention. I want to thank the other cities in the region who are considering this. And I want to state just for a minute, what can this do for us? The city of San Francisco started Cities for CEDAW many years ago, followed in recent years, 2003, I think, by the city of Los Angeles. California has been a leader in this, as in so many other things. And now cities throughout the state have just recently adopted. Santa Clara, San Jose, the city and county of San Diego, Berkeley, I could go on, and we can share with you the list, to create a framework for a gender lens interpretation. Let me just give you one small example of what happened in San Francisco when they adopted CEDAW. They used it as a way to convene leaders across cabinets, across with the police force, and they started to do some deep listening. One small thing that they did was to work with the police to do an assessment of lighting on the streets so that women who are working late at night, the women cleaning all of our offices and whatnot who were coming out, turns out they found out there wasn't lighting near bus stops. There wasn't lighting near parking spaces. These are small things, but when you start to look at them if you start to look at lighting in the city through a gender lens and through where women are at night, things start to change. So they changed that. And with their domestic violence council, they worked, and after they worked together, it's a long story, we can talk more about that later, but they had 3 years, the first time in 2 decades, they had 3 years of 0 domestic violence murders in the city of San Francisco. So there is, I think, precedent for good work being done under CEDAW. There's more information for us all to learn. We, as your Women's Commission, stand here ready to support and help. We thank you. And I want to just turn it over to my fellow commissioners to make a remark before we move on.
I don't think I can say anything to follow our chairperson's comments. She's done a great job, other than just to say we know Sacramento is a city that has been very inclusive, and all of the information she shared, just to make sure that we understand for women of color, it's even more severe. So we really request your support, and thank you.
And again, I just wanted to thank the council members for taking this, important message and forward for our city and region.
Yeah, I don't normally speak on all, but I need to make an exception tonight to thank you for the work that you all do, and to note that for every single statistic you mentioned, how much worse it is for women of color. And I want to recognize the work that many women on your council, including those of you here tonight, have done to elevate that issue, and to point out a few more examples of where I think the city of Sacramento needs to grow. We have had incidents here where cleaning staff at our downtown buildings have been assaulted trying to leave work due to unsafe conditions around their parking and lack of adequate lighting. We, as someone who has left an unsafe situation with a partner, realizing that there is no resources for you if you haven't been physically harmed yet by your partner. You actually have to wait around to actually be physically hit by somebody to be eligible for most domestic violence programs in Sacramento, which is appalling. I was helping a constituent just the other day who had left a situation to find there was no place for her to go, so that we could try to keep her off the street. And when several of us on this dais just last year experienced a threat of violence to our safety, including several of the council members here, there are very little resources for us when it comes to ongoing safety concerns, and that's something that became very apparent to us around this time last year, and really is something that several of us continue to live with, especially those of us who live alone. So I want to thank you for pushing us to think more about policy than just the resolution. The resolution is important, but I think think how we hold ourselves accountable to the values that we espouse in these resolutions is just as important. And I think there is a lot of work that we could do here in Sacramento that would allow us to continue to lead on these critical issues. And I look forward to partnering with you to continue doing that work.
Thank you. And if I might say on that, many of these cities who passed resolutions went on to pass ordinances. And so we welcome your thoughts about that in the near future. Mr. Mayor?
I was just going to say, I understand the resolution and the ordinance, but like, just give us tonight, there's not one answer, one concrete step the city could take. I'm thinking about the lighting issue. I mean, something that we could do now that would show our continued intent in the right direction.
Well, where cities usually start, which I think you've already done, and I don't know what the status is of your audit. Usually cities start with an audit of their city workforce and begin there. But I think we can also think about violence. There's we have wonderful organizations here working on domestic violence. But I would love to see a convening of the city could come together and really convene about where do we really understand where we are around these issues, all these issues of violence. It's not just domestic violence, right? So we think of women's issues and domestic violence, but I think what Councilwoman Valenzuela said was very important, that we could do kind of a safety audit. And we could begin with something like that. And we have other ideas. I think that what we've talked about is meeting and looking at some of what the other cities have done already as well. I do think that what San Francisco did years ago was bring this lens to decision-making. And what we will do is share information about that framework and how you can bring that lens so you're voting on things around safety and housing and homelessness all the time, right? So how do we look through these things through a gender lens? I think, Rachel, you talk about this often, Commissioner Rios, is when we make policy decisions based on data, it's one thing. But when we think about it through a lens of how it's impacting certain populations, it's another thing. And so some of it is asking the questions when you're about to make your policy decisions, and we can help you think about that. Yeah.
Well, and Mayor, I think one of the things, question that you asked was, I'm working with the Sacramento County Commission on Women and Girls, as well as many of the other organizations, to convene where are we missing, where are policies in the city that we need to discuss, and pulling together something and being thoughtful before it comes forward, because there are so many gaps, and I think there are so many things that need to be addressed, but what are the most pressing as we look at them, and having, I really thank Supervisor Cerna and his leadership and seeing the Sacramento County Commission come together on women and girls, so that this is kind of the catalyst of pushing them to bring to us, how can we do things for the greater good as we look at women and girls, and what are the pressing issues that we can make a difference on, that I think sometimes we've been told too often we should not talk about.
Yeah. And I think, Councilmember, I know I would like to be included in some of those conversations, if that's okay. I don't know if the other women on the dais would as well, but that would be great.
Thank you.
One of the areas that we're looking into as a commission is looking at older women at risk of homelessness, and particularly what we know from some data nationally, but we don't really have data here unless some of you do, we'd love to know, is how many women who are in their 60s or even late 50s who are on fixed incomes and who don't own a home are one of the highest risks for becoming unhoused. And so when we start to look at the housing issue through that gender lens of women outliving men, women who, do we know how many women are at risk today? And do we know how to go upstream to think about that? And so if anyone's already thinking about that, we'd love to know. It's an area that the commission wants to be involved in.
Encounter that. I just encountered a woman in her 60s who lives a couple blocks from me, whose husband passed away, who's on a fixed income, and she's just paying partial rent and waiting it out. And so there are no resources available for people in that age bracket and income bracket. It's just really heartbreaking.
Well, that's one area we could think about together, is how do we think of the prevention into becoming unhoused for this demographic of women.
Lowy had a comment as well.
Yeah, Councilman McCaffrey, thank you so much for, shining some light on this. And I thank you so much for all the hard work that you're putting into this cause. It's really sad that we're in 2023 and we still have to talk about this topic, and sometimes Some of us might think it's been resolved because we don't experience it, in our own inner circle. But thank you so much for bringing light, shining some light on this. I do agree with you that we probably could do a lot better in our city. And, I'm thinking rather than waiting for this massive study to be done, obviously you pointed out some things that are quick fixes. And I would love to get a little bit more information on those and see how we can implement that in our city, just around this building by itself, and kind of push it to other districts. I also want to make sure that we do not forget about one of the most vulnerable communities in our city, and that's the unhoused community. That this kind of treatment, abuse, does also happen in those communities. And unfortunately, that community, if we don't know where to go for help, I can assure you that community is completely without those information.
That's right.
So I would love to get some information from you to my office to get more, become more active, to at least let individuals know that there is an organization, there is a group that you can call for help. And again, thank you so much for all the effort. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you all very much.
Councilwoman.
Very, very worthwhile. Thank you, Councilmember Kaplan. Okay. Oh, we got pictures.
Okay.
I'm next.
Members of the public, the special presentations sometimes may take a lot of time, but they're really important because they can reveal and uplift important community discussions that aren't necessarily covered in a formal council agenda or with a specific city issue. And I thought that was really a important and good use of our time, both resolutions, actually. So, thank you. All right. Let's move to the consent calendar, which is the beginning part of the business of the evening. Are there any items that members would like to discuss separately, be voted on separately?
So Mayor, I believe Vice Mayor Guerra would like item 2 to be moved to December 12th. And staff has also asked that item 15 also be moved to December 12th.
December the 12th. Okay. I'm sure there'll be no objections there. There are others. Are that, Vice Mayor? Is that
Yes,
covered?
that, and I was going to comment on also item number 6 as well. And thank you for pulling and moving item number 2 to December 12th.
Okay, very good. Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes, I just wanted to comment on item 6.
Which one? I'm sorry.
Item 6?
Item 6 as well. Okay. All right. Just going through this, see if there's anything else. All right. Let's start then with the two members who wanted to speak on item 6.
Yeah.
Oh, do we have public testimony on the consent calendar, Madam?
I have no speakers on the consent
Here
calendar.
we go. Then, why don't we hear the comments, and then we'll get a motion on the
Everyone's like,
consent
wow, there's no
calendar.
comments.
Who wants to go
Yeah,
first?
I'll go first. I'll go
Okay.
first. Yeah, thank you so much, Mayor. I just wanted to take this moment really just to thank city staff for their hard work, but especially Pro Youth and Families for their hard work in assisting the city to make sure that we were able to receive this $2.9 million grant, almost $3 million for our youth in the city. And I just wanted to reiterate that today's vote is really just to accept those funds, and that the decision of how these funds will be allocated will be determined, I believe, at a later date, but we may provide some direction on that tonight. I think Vice Mayor Guerra may want to comment on that. But I'm just really excited that we received this grant. This is for cohort 3. And I know that these dollars are going out to a community-based organization that is doing everything they can to really serve our young people, especially around prevention and education around the harms of cannabis as well. And so the only comment I have, aside from great job city staff and pro youth and families, is also, I know annually, Mayor, we typically, when we had our director of the Office of Youth Development, we usually present on all of the youth programmings that are happening in the city of Sacramento. And I would like possibly if we can get a report back, perhaps this time with from YPSI, from our fierce leader at YPSI, Jackie, and also Renee as well, about all the youth programming that are happening in the city in particular, from fire to police to what's happening in YPSI in particular. I know that this grant is for cohort 3, but we also want to know what were the outcomes from cohort 2 as well, and what were some lessons learned. And so that's my direction on this item, is that really excited that we got these dollars from the state to support our young people. But I think having a report back on just all the youth programming that we're doing, especially because we're gearing up for implementation around Measure L as well. I think it's important for my colleagues and I just to do a quick refresher of our youth development framework and the incredible work that we're doing in the city to support our young people. Thank you.
Vice Mayor?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I wanted to, again, agree with comments by Mayor Pro Tem Vang here also, ensuring that we get a report back on phase 1 and 2 and the outcomes we've had on education to young people about the effects of cannabis, particularly the recent information and educational health information about the new effects, and particularly with vaping as well. And I'll move this item, Mr. Mayor, move the entire consent calendar with the exception of item 2 that will come back on December, and 5 and 15, sorry, 2 and 15 that'll come back both on December 12th, and also direction on number 6, on item 6, that this item be brought back to council when the city manager determines the method of administering the funds and what direction they will go with that. With that, that's my motion.
Yeah, I think those are great directions, and just want to make sure we got that on record. I see Lainey nodding her head. So.
So-
Yes, I will second that. Happily,
This
I
whole
will
meeting
second
is
that.
being filmed and recorded.
I know sometimes I feel like we, even though it's film recorded, we have to like repeat because it's on the record, but you know how it is. All right,
Thank
thank
you, Mr.
you.
Mayor.
I'll second that.
Okay, moved and seconded. We have everyone here, so I think I can call the roll. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Oppose, abstain. That dispenses with tonight's consent calendar. We now move to our single public hearing, which is a real happy one, I think. Item 17. Who's presenting on this one?
Good evening, Mayor and members of council. I'm Danny Abbas, and the project planner for this project, La Familia Opportunity Center. It is a request, oops, let me go backwards on this, there we go. It is a request to construct and operate a 25,000 square foot vocational skills training and community service center on a vacant 2.2 acre site at 5900 Franklin Boulevard. The site is directly across 37th Avenue from the La Familia Neighborhood Center, across Franklin Boulevard from the St. Patrick Academy, and near many homes in the South Sacramento neighborhood. The center plans to provide numerous support services, groups, and activities available to the surrounding community. Some of these include parenting workshops, mental health services, a satellite health clinic, multiple programs for youth development, multiple programs to assist older adults, and career training for green jobs, entry-level medical, culinary fields, and more. On June 27th, the Planning and Design Commission forwarded a recommendation of approval for the proposal. Staff recommends council approve the project based on the findings of fact and subject to the conditions of approval listed within attachment 4 of the staff report. Planning staff supports the proposal since it will bring convenient health, medical, and employment services to South Sacramentans, help facilitate employment within the city, create a landmark community facility, and make use of a long-term urban infill site. That concludes the presentation. Both staff and the applicant team would be available for any questions. Thank you.
Well, let's hear from members of the public first, because I know my colleagues are going to want to make comments, and I know I do as well. Who's here to testify?
I have one person to speak on this item. It's Lambert.
Lambert, and I'm a huge supporter of La Familia. And the way I encountered them was we used to store our cheesecakes out off of Franklin and 52nd Avenue. That's a long run from Del Paso Heights, but that's where we stored them. And I encountered some people who were with La Familia. This is over a decade ago. And I found them to be an organization of tremendous commitment, sincerity, and integrity, and it's good to see a group like this receive some sort of support from the city. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers.
All right. I know Rachel Rios is here. I'd like you to come up, please. We have some very hard questions for you. Not really. I just want you to take the mic here and talk a little bit about the project, if you would, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members, for being here today. We couldn't have been here without your support from the very beginning and your initial investment in believing that the Franklin neighborhood could have a neighborhood that could be revitalized, that it could have infrastructure in there like other neighborhoods, a clinic, health services, and all kinds of opportunities for green jobs. And so today this is one step closer to our dream, very important step today, and so we ask for your favorable approval of our permit.
You're very modest, by the way. You know, this, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues, but I guess I'm going first. Sorry, if that's okay. You're very modest because this only happened and is happening because of your iron will. And because there were, a lot of times where it was just hard to figure out where to begin to get the seed money. And all good intentions and everyone trying, and it was your insistence that we find a way and that we be creative. And when we had the opportunity, I believe it was ARPA, to be able to make that seed investment, it's I just want to make sure that you get and your board and your staff and your team get appropriate credit for recognizing just how crucial this project is to the future, not just of South Sacramento, but to all of Sacramento. Your multidisciplinary approach, the way you see the whole person, the whole family, the respect that you have not only within the community, but statewide and nationally. Really happy.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Mayor. And like I said, we don't do anything alone. We have amazing staff members who are responsive to our community, and we are very honored and privileged to have the trust of our community. And so we take that very seriously. And again, we appreciate all the support we've gotten from our city and the council and the mayor as well.
Very good. Councilmember Maple.
Thank you, Mayor. And I think you might have taken some of my comments.
Oh, I didn't mean to. Sorry.
Because I have a whole
moment.
bucket full for Ms. Rios. And just really, I think, build upon all of what you said. All of this work is, one, you and your team and our city team, too. So much of what's happening here is a true partnership and collaboration. This is the city, this is government, nonprofits, community coming together to do something really great. And hopefully we'll find out soon something even greater. But I just want to speak from just the experience of some of the things that I heard from community as I was knocking on doors in the neighborhood that you serve, that this is one area of the city where people really struggle. We don't have connectivity via transit in any real way. We don't have any parks in that neighborhood. We have very little, if any, tree canopy, and so you see people struggling who are unable to keep their homes cool and able to keep their families fed and connected, and people are spending more and more time trying to get to work and back and so on. That we can add layers and layers to this, and so this is one piece of the pie. And what I appreciate about you and the board and the whole team is not just looking at something and seeing the challenges, but seeing the opportunity, hence the opportunity center of this area, this community, and how something like this can really just change the game. And I also really I think it's important for context for all of those listening or those listening at home, if you're out there, that this was also born of work that you did during the pandemic. And so when you literally stepping up and making sure that there was a place for people to get testing, a place for people to get access to vaccines, a place for people to escape the weather when we had a difficult weather, whether it was the hot or the cold or so on. And so this is a proof of product. You were able to receive these funds and move forward because you already showed what's possible, and now we're going to see even more of that. So just really want to congratulate you, appreciate the work that you do. And I would like to open and close the public hearing and move the item. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Vice Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, I'll start off by, proudly seconding this motion. And again, also, Rachel, I want to thank you, the board members, and all of the volunteers and participants, the sheer community of the family of La Familia that has stuck through it. And, this is one of those concepts that, I think it must have been 2017 or 2016 when we first met thinking about what to do about a vacant lot on a commercial corridor that has illegal dumping, blight, some of the worst things affecting the neighbors in that area. And right next to the old Maple Center, the old Maple Elementary School. And so looking at this area and saying, what's possible? This is an example of what can be done. And we'll talk about these next items on the agenda here later today. But showing that true opportunity, what we can do for commercial corridors. And whether it's Northgate Boulevard, or whether it's Del Paso and Marysville, or Stockton Boulevard, this is exactly the type of work that meets multiple goals. And the fact that that area in our city is affected by very poor air quality, adjacent to the 99, a heavy traveled commercial area where people from Elk Grove are coming through our city to avoid the 99. On top of that, in the middle of a residential area, this is an example of looking at how they're addressing also air quality by training people in the technology that's going to solve those solutions, and not just saying we're going to improve the air for the people that live there, but train the people to be the innovators, the ones who have the degrees, and the business owners, creating business owners for their own economic stability and future in that area. And that, to me, it's more than just about approving a building and going through this public hearing process, but taking that valid next step of what can be done. This is not just for Franklin. This is an example for all of our commercial corridors in the entire city. And with that, Mr. Mayor, I'm proud to support this work that when we talked about Measure U is one of those comments on the Measure U agenda back in 2018, I think.
And this, it's not directly Measure U, but it was, because it's the combination of Measure U and ARPA and all this that has enabled us to invest in our communities, the commercial corridors, the forgotten parts, too often forgotten parts of the city. This was one of the signature investments. Thank you. Thank you for mentioning that, Eric. I have Councilmember Jennings and Mayor Pro Tem Vang.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm just going to build on what's already been said. Rachel and I go back a long ways, and so I'm going to add on to the history that you've already given us, both of you have given us. And back in the choral days, and Lambert Davis said it when he came up to the mic. He says, I'm a huge supporter of La Familia, and it's hard not to be a huge supporter of La Familia because you do so many things and you do them well. And so many young people and older people have benefited from La Familia over the years. So I like to look at you as a game changer, because back in the choral days, and Rashid Sadiq is here in the audience, he was back in the choral days. We spent 7 years working on literacy, proving that kids could catch up in school in order to be able, if they would just develop a love for reading. And we developed a white paper that has educated the state of California on taking reading programs, and that was one that we did together. But you've done so many things, without the benefit of having other organizations with you, but you also collaborate so well with every organization that you work with. So this is a step closer to the dream. And I thought the dream was Maple Elementary School. I went there the other day, and I saw every program that would benefit the youth that come there every single day. I saw every program there that makes this a perfect after-school program that keeps kids out of trouble, keeps them focused on learning, and helps them to continue to get great education. So you continue to keep developing these game changers that change the course of the direction for our young people, our adults, everybody that's in the community. And I'm just so glad to be here to see it happen, and I support this unconditionally.
Thank you, Councilmember. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I just first want to say, Rachel, thank you so much. I know thank you so much to you and your fierce leadership and your vision, and especially your board. I too want to add some history and context to where we're at. Back in 2013, when I was just a community organizer, when I came back from college, there was 13 elementary school that was on the list to be closed. As a young organizer, I fought really hard to make sure that Maple Elementary stayed open, and it was one of the schools that were closed. And then as an organizer, still, before I was a school board member, fought really hard to ensure that those closed sites became community hubs. And as an organizer, I remember speaking at just, in front of the school board, asking them to reopen these sites for it to be central hubs. And then when I became a school board member, I had the honor to vote to ensure that Maple Elementary was transitioned over to La Familia. And I know we had big dreams then, and we still have big dreams now. And it's so great to be in this space where we get to vote. I get to vote on another chapter of La Familia's history and legacy in the city of Sacramento. A school that served only 200 families at that time now is serving over thousands and thousands of families, not just in South Sacramento, but throughout the Sacramento region. And that's what's so exciting about this project in particular, because we know that potential is universal, but often families that live in that neighborhood off of Franklin don't have those opportunities. And so this is super, super exciting for me. I'm excited it's like another chapter of La Familia that I get to be part of, but it's all because of your vision, Rachel, and your steadfast advocacy, right? Because if you don't have vision, it can't happen, right? And having a leader that can actually steward the vision is just as important, right? And so I really want to center you and thank you, your staff, and your board. And then lastly, I also want to give a shout out to former council member Jay Chenier as well, who fought really hard to also get us to this moment as well. And if he's watching this, also wanted to say thank you for his service and helping to steward the project to this moment as well. So congratulations, really exciting chapter for La Familia. And I'm just super excited for all the youth and families in South Sacramento that's gonna get all the opportunities because of this Opportunity Center. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Councilmember Laloy.
Thank you. I think everything has been said. So the only reason I raised my hand is I represent North Sacramento, District 2. And just sitting here, I'm picturing this empty lot, this parcel that's sitting right on Marysville Boulevard. And I'm hoping that one day I can see your organization take a look at that site so we can create a satellite in North Sacramento. Again, truly an honor to be here tonight and seeing this on the agenda. If you don't know about La Familia, that means that you're probably out of Northern California area and you're just visiting. But I'm hoping that your organization will look at North Sacramento, and hopefully sooner than later, maybe we can get together and plan a brand new site as a satellite site in North Sacramento, which is well needed. Again, thank you so much for everything that you've done for the city of Sacramento, for the youth, and you continue doing it. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. All right. Well, this has been moved and it's been seconded. And let me say, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstain. I think that's a pretty strong yes.
So much. Thank you. Thank you so much. Next step is groundbreaking, right? Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, let us now move to item 18, which is the important issue of missing middle housing.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the City Council. I am Nguyen, Associate Planner with the Community Development Department and Project Lead for the city's Missing Middle Housing Study. And I am pleased to present a few brief slides for your consideration. To provide some context, staff has had this conversation with the community for nearly 3 years, beginning with the 2040 General Plan Update effort. In January of 2021, Council approved the General Plan key strategy to allow a greater array of housing types, such as triplexes and fourplexes throughout the city. Staff initiated a study in 2022 that will culminate in a suite of recommendations early next year to permit and regulate these missing middle housing types. The two efforts have been closely linked, with the general plan serving as the overarching framework and policy direction, and the missing middle housing study providing the details for implementation of missing middle. The 2040 General Plan and Climate Action and Adaptation Plan effort recently completed its public review period and is now in its final stretch, on track for Council's adoption in February. To stay on schedule, staff is seeking confirmation from City Council to proceed with the proposed revisions to the missing middle implementation approach and the general plan maximum floor area ratio diagram. Staff will use the direction given by City Council during this meeting to prepare the final 2040 general plan for adoption hearings in early 2024. Following the adoption of the general plan, staff will finalize the remaining missing middle housing recommendations with the intention of updating the Planning and Development Code by the end of 2024 to allow construction of missing middle housing. I'll start with a brief overview of the Missing Middle Housing Study's preliminary recommendations and the recommended revised approach based on the feedback we've received. I think it's important to start with by clarifying that the intent of this study is to explore and determine how the city could allow missing middle housing types in the city's 4 single unit and duplex dwelling zones, namely the R1, R1A, R1B, and R2 zones, which, as you can see on this map, makes up almost 3/4 of the city. Other zones commonly found along corridors and city centers already allow higher intensity housing by right, including many of the multi-unit dwelling, mixed use, and commercial zones. These zones already allow higher intensity housing that's larger in scale than missing middle housing. Over the last 3 years of engagement, residents have shared what they think could be challenges to implementation, including the importance of neighborhood scale and compatibility, on-site open space for trees as well as passive recreation, and the level of attainability for our residents. Staff kept all of these in mind as we developed the preliminary recommendations to help the city thoughtfully implement missing middle, which were shared with the community, the Planning and Design Commission, and City Council in October for input. On the screen is an example of a potential neighborhood scale fourplex with 2 ADUs or accessory dwelling units above the garage, where you'll see the built form recommendations working together to ensure neighborhood compatibility in building scale and form. These recommendations include maintaining the current height limits, regulating the building mass through modified bulk control standards, providing incentives for the protection of existing trees as well as new planting of trees, and allowing additional flexibility in setback requirements to encourage street shading trees, well-designed shared open space areas, and more pedestrian-oriented frontages. All of the public comments received through the online workshop can be found in attachment 5 of the staff report. But in terms of the types and locations of missing middle housing, there was general concern with the proposed missing middle housing tiers with varying unit caps that limited the number of primary and accessory dwelling units allowed on a lot to either 4, 6, or 8. The feedback provided by members of the City Council and Planning and Design Commission shared a similar concern. Though less in volume, it is important to note comments from community members with concerns regarding neighborhood compatibility, open space needs, impact on trees, and housing attainability. Based on this input, staff recommends a revised approach that does not formally cap the number of units, but instead rely on maximum floor area ratios and development standards to regulate building size, height, and form. In essence, this revised approach would prescribe a three-dimensional box or a building envelope, so to speak, that is more responsive to the size of the lot than the unit cap approach. This approach allows the city to address building form and ensure neighborhood scale outcomes without prescribing the number of units. Staff anticipates that the other preliminary recommendations will generally remain the same, and staff intends to proceed with developing specific details for the following. Building envelope limitations through maximum floor area ratio, bulk control standards and height limit, incentives for on-site trees, shared open space areas, and more pedestrian-oriented frontages in exchange for flexible application of certain development standards, reduced minimum lot size requirements that could help to create new home ownership opportunities by allowing smaller lots and smaller homes, a sliding scale or sliding floor area ratio scale that would limit a single unit dwelling in the 4 previously mentioned R1, R2 zones to a maximum floor area ratio of 0.4, or in other words, 40% of the size of the lot. And increments of additional building area would be granted proportionally to the number of units proposed on a lot, up to the maximum FAR allowed by the general plan. The sliding FAR scale will be added as an additional regulatory diagram to the land use element of the 2040 general plan. As this would be a new project type for both staff and the community, staff is still recommending a discretionary design review process with approval at staff level, which helps to provide flexibility essential to staff as we work through the complexities of these projects under this new regulatory framework. A local bonus program to incentivize deed restricted units for a certain number of years, and additional code changes and application requirements will be implemented to create new home ownership opportunities and preserve existing naturally affordable housing. So for folks who are visual like myself, the next 2 slides will illustrate how FAR and bulk control would work together to control building size and scale. Floor area ratio essentially grants an allowable amount of building floor area based on the size of the parcel. For example, on a 5,200 square foot lot, which is the typical lot size in the single unit zone, that is assigned a maximum floor area ratio of 1, and the general plan would be allowed to build up to 5,200 square feet of floor area on the lot, depending on the number of units proposed, whether it is contained within 1 story or multiple stories, and up to the 35 feet height limit. Bulk control standards limit the building mass through a pyramid-like tent that requires upper stories to be stepped back to prevent building massing that is out of the neighborhood scale, which is illustrated on the next slide. In addition to the general plan maximum FAR and the bulk control standards, the city would also continue to apply development standards such as height limit, maximum lot coverage, setback, and open space requirements. Together, these limitations work together to maintain the neighborhood scale, an important characteristic of the R1 and R2 zones. In areas that are near high-frequency transit stops, where the general plan allows a maximum FAR of 2, it is important to clarify that the bulk control, height limits, and other development standards would still, in most cases, effectively limit the building mass to an FAR of approximately 1.25. Staff is also requesting confirmation from council on this second item, which pertains to a revision to the maximum floor area ratio diagram of the 2040 general plan. The draft 2040 general plan was available for public review from April to October and was presented to City Council in August. During the August and October meetings, City Council's feedback indicated a desire to allow higher intensity development within a half-mile walking distance of existing and planned high-frequency transit. This desire was echoed by the Planning and Design Commission and many public comments received over the past several months. In response to this feedback, staff recommends a revised maximum floor area ratio diagram that ensures an FAR of at least 2 is assigned for parcels within a half-mile walking distance of existing high-frequency bus stops and existing and planned light rail stations. Note that high-frequency transit is defined in the 2040 General Plan as providing service every 15 minutes. On the screen is a map of the approximately 17,000 parcels identified in blue and green as being within a half-mile walking distance of the blue, gold, and existing and planned green line stations, as well as bus stops along bus routes 51 and 1 that would see an increase in FAR from 1 to 2. With this revision, the 2040 General Plan maximum FAR diagram would be updated as shown on the right of the screen. This revision to align higher intensity near high-frequency transit supports the city's transit-oriented development objectives and our climate action goals. These maps can be found as staff report attachments 2 and 3. I'm almost done. Tomorrow evening, the Planning and Design Commission will provide review and comment on the 2040 General Plan and CAP red-lined draft with adoption hearings slated for January and February of next year. Confirmation from City Council tonight will help staff to properly direct resources for the refinement of the missing middle housing study final recommendations, which we're hoping to share early next year, along with the displacement risk assessment. Once the 2040 General Plan is adopted by City Council, staff will begin work on City Code revisions to implement these recommendations, and we hope to begin accepting missing middle project applications by early 2025. So to wrap things up, staff is recommending that the City Council pass a motion authorizing staff to, 1, revise the draft 2040 General Plan maximum floor area ratio diagram to increase the maximum FAR from 1 to 2 in areas within a half-mile walking distance of existing high-frequency bus stops and existing and planned light rail stations. And 2, proceed with the revised missing middle housing approach that regulates the building form through the 2040 General Plan FARs, including the proposed sliding FAR scale, and the single unit and duplex dwelling zone standards found in the Planning and Development Code. So that concludes my presentation. I'm joined today by Matt Hurdle, Long Range Planning Manager, Matali and Roger from Opticals Design to answer any questions. Thank you.
So, very good presentation, Mr. Wynn. And I know we have a lot of public testimony and members. I just want to ask sort of a layperson's question here, right? Because there's a lot of detail about FARs, floor area ratios, and a lot of technical jargon, which is important. To the broader public, what is the import of this suggested policy? And maybe specifically, do we have an estimate as to how many additional housing units we might be able to build over what period of time if we were to direct and adopt these policies?
Good evening, Mayor. Matt Hurdle, Long Range Planning Manager. In terms of projections for our general plan, we anticipate growing by 69,000 housing units total citywide by 2040. In terms of our neighborhoods and missing middle, as well as additional single-unit dwellings or single-family homes, we're looking at about 5,700 between now and 2040, so 5,700 units.
Okay, and if we don't take this direction to, my layperson's understanding, to densify, to build more on less space, in this way, we'll be short, as you say, over the next decades, 6,000, 7,000 units?
Well, a little bit of it is about where the housing is going to be and what type of housing we want to see in the city. So this would really incentivize, encourage the development of housing near transit, amenities, services, schools, et cetera, right? And so that's to meet our climate goals, to meet our transit-oriented development goals.
The housing might be built elsewhere.
That's correct.
Maybe outside the city, though, too.
That's correct.
Okay. I just think it's important that we take very complex subject matter and we try to explain it to mayors and the general public, you know? And
I'd like to add that one of the main ideas is that we are hoping to provide housing types that are more targeted towards the middle income bracket, and that is a key policy initiative to address our housing crisis.
Agreed. Okay, thank you so much. Now we have a lot of public testimony, and then I'll turn it over to the city council members. By the way, there are 29 or 30 people signed up, and while you are all welcome to take the full 2 minutes, everybody here is in full support, as I understand it, who's come here tonight. And so if you wanted to take a minute instead of 2, you'll be rewarded at some point in your life. I'm not sure how aware. But whatever you choose. I'm being funny, but we get that there's significant support out there for this, and we welcome your testimony.
Thank you. We do have 33 speakers on this item, and as the mayor mentioned, that most have signed that they are in favor of the item. So I'm going to read off a few names: Kay Crum, Robert Copeland, Mary Helwig, William Berg.
Hi, City Council. Thank you very much to the city staff for putting this together. And I just learned that my house is 0.6 miles away from the 51. So if you could extend that to at least 0.6, I would love that. My name is Kay. I'm a resident of District 6. I'm a member of Strong Sacktown, and I'm a homeowner. And I wanted to voice my support for increasing the FAR because it allows neighborhoods to grow naturally through incremental community-driven change, which encourages diverse neighborhoods across the city. The current low-density, stagnant development patterns gave us our housing crisis, and an increase in the FAR is a solution that empowers each neighborhood to choose how they'll collectively address this injustice, which sounds like a win for everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Robert Copeland?
If this is done correctly, it can benefit the city in so many ways. More transit. We need better transit system in Sacramento. Less homeless population because of more housing. More tax revenue for schools. More jobs. And I can go on and on and on. And Mayor Steinberg asked one of my questions, how many housing units? Is this planned in other cities and counties in the SACOG region? I don't know that answer. I would like to know, but I don't. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mary Helwig, then William Berg.
I'm going to limit my comments based on the recommendation of the mayor. I'm relatively new to Sacramento. I'm actually new to California. I moved here a year and a half ago from the Midwest. I bought a home in District 4, began to explore the city by foot, and am actually totally shocked by the number of my city neighbors who have nowhere to live. So I am totally in favor of proposals that use every tool available to us to provide solutions that move us as a city to a more livable future for all of us. I totally support this proposition. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. William Berg, then Ben Radersdorf.
William Berg, Preservation Sacramento. Sacramento's historic districts have room to grow. It's a principle of our organization. The examples of missing middle housing, or shown in the presentation today, are from our historic districts. These neighborhoods like Southside, Alkali Flat, and Oak Park were redlined because they were homes to our communities of color without racial covenants, scarred and bulldozed by redevelopment and highway construction. They were neighborhoods of exodus for those displaced in the name of progress and modernity. Historic preservation protected these buildings for contemporary use as homes and businesses. Zoning did not. Only a few blocks of our historic districts are even zoned R1, and those are zoned R1B, which allowed duplexes before SB 9 caught up with our zoning code. The rest are already allowed denser infill, some denser than what's proposed today. They're already mostly multifamily and residential. None are solely single family in zoning or form. All contain a mixture of property densities and types, and most have new infill. And that's why when staff recommended limiting those few R1B blocks to 4 units, we disagreed because we didn't want to create 2 classes of historic districts. And adopting those proposed changes on a citywide basis is fairer for all versus the traditional response to the central city, the places that were redlined and demolished, should carry a disproportionate burden of new growth. This decision also carries risks to our historic districts, which we can reduce very simply. The reason why you're being asked to allow these higher densities is to permit use of California's state density bonus law, which is triggered by a minimum of 5 units. It trades exemptions to local regulations for affordable housing, like maximum height, FAR, or historic status. This means builders can demolish locally listed historic buildings to build new projects unless they're listed in the California Register. However, the city is allowed by state law to submit our locally listed properties, districts, and landmarks via survey or ordinance to the state for listing in the California Register. Doing so would prevent demolition, but not prohibit these projects if they reuse rather than demolish a historic building. It also makes all our historic buildings eligible for the new California Historic Rehab Tax Credit, which helps historic rehabs pencil and includes a 5% bonus
Your
for
time is
projects with
complete. Thank you for
affordable
your
housing.
comments.
Thank you.
Ben Raderstorff, Kristen Rithall, and then Joey Wraithwall.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I was all prepared to give a really impassioned plea, but instead I will say thank you. My name is Ben Raderstorff. I'm a member of House Sacramento, the grassroots all-volunteer advocacy organization fighting to end exclusionary zoning in Sacramento. And what you all are doing tonight means so much. I mean, Matt, you said the number 5,700, which is about what sort of our estimates on the map pencil out to. It's really easy to treat that number, 5,700 homes, as a commodity, as a number of units of housing. But the reality is, in 2040, each and every one of those homes will be someone's home. It will have a dining room table and a favorite chair and a fridge with appointment reminders and kids' homework on them. Those are real homes that are going to exist because of what you are doing. And real neighbors who we get to continue to have here in Sacramento, to continue to call neighbors. So thank you all for being good neighbors, for being such incredible leaders. We are so grateful for all of you. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Kristen Wraithwall, then Joey Wraithwall, then James Drake.
Hi, everyone. My name is Kristen Wraithwall. I'm a resident in District 7, the Curtis Park neighborhood. Again, just wanted to thank you all and express my strong support. I would also, like to add, so in a region where over 50%, in a city where over 50% of our emissions are related to transportation, building more housing units near transportation is so critical, and also more affordable units where we can really try to address some of the challenges and inequities that we have in our housing sector. So really appreciate that. I would also say, as somebody who currently lives just outside of that 0.5-mile radius, I think that we can take it further. We're seeing other cities extend that region out to a mile. And as somebody who took light rail to this meeting tonight, I'm here with my son and family who ride light rail all the time. My neighborhood, my community, we use light rail. We depend on light rail and would love to see this expansion even further, potentially. So thank you all so much for your support, for your time. Really appreciate it and excited to see this moving forward.
Thank you for your comments. Now Joey Wraithwall, then James Drake, then Isaac Gonzalez.
Hi, Council. Thank you for your time, and thanks to staff for your receptiveness to comments. My name's Joey Wraithwall. I'm a resident of District 7 in Curtis Park neighborhood as well, and homeowner. I think in addition to the support, I want to echo Kristen's comments about the potential to increase the transit area that can be applied, or that this increased FAR can be applied to. We ride the light rail multiple times a week. We see high school students walking past our house, which is 0.7 miles from a station. We see people riding the scooters, leaving them at stations. We hear about the 15-minute city. We hear about the 20-minute city. That's just transit stops. You don't hear the half-mile city. We can do a lot better as we figure out how communities can look and how to address the legacies of racism and privilege hoarding that have led to the housing crisis and climate crisis. So thank you to staff, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. James Drake, Isaac Gonzalez, Connor Finney.
Hey, good evening. My name is James Drake. For the past 7 years, I've lived downtown. In the past 17 years, I've worked in Midtown and downtown as a transit planner for Sacramento RT. Officially, SacRT supports this measure. I'm not actually involved in projects of this nature at SacRT, so my comments tonight are strictly as a private citizen, but I'll also be supporting this measure. It seems like there is a lot of support for this measure, but, you know, this seems like it would basically allow a lot more duplexes and small two-story apartments. And in my neighborhood, we have a lot of housing like this. And to me, it just works really well. And that's both from my perspective, working in transit, and just as kind of an ordinary person. It's compact enough to support a neighborhood bar and a cafe and a nice donut shop. But for people who are more used to the suburbs, there's still a lot of room if you want to own a car or maybe have a dog or a backyard grill. So I think it's a really good fit for a city like Sacramento. And I think the term missing middle is really pretty apt. That is just me. I mean, if you look at the map, this is not really my neighborhood that would be affected. And I do think it's fair for people who've bought a place to expect some continuity with their zoning. However, in the case of this measure, I think this is really a pretty reasonable measure. This doesn't raise the minimum. It doesn't prohibit or get rid of single units. Just raises the cap, and that's not to allow like huge lofts. This is just mostly duplexes and old school two-story apartments. And a lot of this is just in neighborhoods that are mostly built out already, so I don't foresee this changing things radically or upending the neighborhood. I think it's just basically a really good idea that kind of relaxes a rule that might have already been too strict to begin with. So I'm pleased to see a lot of support, and I'd like to thank staff for bringing this up. And thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Isaac Gonzalez, Connor Finney, Alyssa Lee.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. My name is Isaac Gonzalez. I've lived in Sacramento my entire life. I have the privilege of being the Tahoe Park Neighborhood Association president. I'm here on my own behalf this evening. I was very fortunate 15 years ago to be able to purchase a home in 2008. I scraped together a down payment to buy a house at a ludicrous price, $255,000. I looked online today. There are no houses available for Sacramento, except for one, which is about 700 square feet in Oak Park for $250,000 detached. Buying a house made me into a community advocate. It let me get involved with so many great organizations and causes. It made me a better person. And I don't think people who are 28 years old today, like I was 15 years ago, find themselves in a situation where they can easily buy a house, as I did all those years ago. And I think about the next generation of leaders and community advocates that we need to have in the city and how we're fostering them and generate those, cultivating those. We need them to become homeowners, property owners, to build their roots, to be here in our city. So I think that this proposal tonight is one part of a key step that will help us do that. I read all the comments online today on the e-comments for and against, and a lot of varying opinions. And I got to say, just for the people who may have some serious pause about this proposal, there are no static cities. There are not cities that stay still. There are cities that are growing, hopefully healthily. There are cities that are growing poorly, and there are cities that are shrinking. I think this proposal puts us on a path for a city that will be growing in a healthy manner, and I hope that's what happens. I will say, though, however, that I do believe that a strong proponent or another proposal that will complement this will be, of course, an affordable housing ordinance, which I hope we get there as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Connor Finney, Alyssa Lee, then Troy Sankey.
Hello, council and staff. I just want to start off my comments by listing off the community organizations that have expressed support for this agenda item. Among the organizations that have submitted a support letter include 350 Sacramento, American Institute of Architects Central Valley, Assembly Member Kevin McCarty, Civic Thread, East Sacramento Community Association, Environmental Council of Sacramento, House Sacramento, Newton Booth Neighborhood Association, Oak Park Neighborhood Association, Sacramento Area Bicycle Advocates, Sacramento Area Council of Governments, Sacramento Housing Alliance, Sacramento Metro Advocates for Rail and Transit, Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District, Sacramento Regional Transit, and United Latinos. In addition, these other organizations have expressed their support otherwise, but were unable to submit a letter. And that's the Alkali and Mansion Flats Historic Neighborhood Association, Downtown Sacramento Partnership, and Midtown Association. This is a historic coalition of advocacy organizations, and this is a historic vote. If this passes, Sacramento will be a leader in the state in addressing residential segregation, the housing shortage, and hitting climate targets. I grew up in California and moved to Sacramento in 2021. I grew up in San Francisco, and my family actually had to move from the city when I was growing up because of high housing costs. Likewise, prior to moving to Sacramento, I had to move 4 different times while living in LA, as rent increases consistently forced me to move. Housing leadership in these cities has been abysmal. So for the first time, it feels like I'm actually living in a place that is taking this crisis seriously, which fills me with a lot of pride. While cities like San Francisco flirt with disaster, fight affordable housing developments, and risk losing its housing element certification from state regulators by going back on its commitments, the city of Sacramento takes the opposite approach. Let's get this done and get a win for Sacramento renters and homebuyers. Thank you so much for your leadership on this vital issue.
Thank you for your comments, Alyssa Lee and Troy Sankey.
Hi, Council. My name is Elisa Lee. I live in District 4 New York Park. I'm here as a member of the Sacramento chapter of Strong Towns. I'm also enthusiastically in support of these revisions. I support the end to exclusionary zoning by switching from regulating by unit caps to regulating by floor area ratio and increasing the floor area ratio to tuner transit. I agree with all the other comments before me that were so well said. And I want to say our members sent multiple comments along the lines of these revisions this summer. And so we're so excited that the council is considering these tonight, that there seems to be a lot of support for it because these are really critical. I know they sound very wonky, but these specifics do really make a huge difference in our city's climate impacts and how livable and walkable and public transitable Sacramento is. I want to speak specifically about climate. Just over a week ago, our planet passed 2 degrees Celsius of warming. That's the first time this has happened in our history. I read the news right when I woke up, and I really did cry and aggrieved. 2 degrees is the limit that the Paris Agreement set our global goal for. So if we continue this ongoing average of warming, it truly means catastrophic, irreversible levels of climate breakdown. I've been active on climate change on national campaigns since 2011, but it wasn't until the last couple of years that I realized how important city decisions are as part of ending the climate crisis, down to road designs and housing regulations, the stuff you'll hopefully support tonight. So what you decide now and how willing we are in committing to our own climate goals in the 2040 general plan will make the difference for my future and all your kids and everyone's kids' futures. Building more density everywhere, not just in one place, but everywhere, prioritizing walkability and public transit over driving will cut out the biggest share of emissions that our city has and most cities across the U.S. have, and that is no small feat, especially for a country that is contributing the most to this crisis. So I see it as a win-win. Thank you.
Next speaker is Troy Sankey, Diana Williams-Corliss, and Thomas Lyons.
Hello, my name is Troy. I live in District 4. I came here to support this proposal and in this agenda item to relax floor area ratio caps near transit. Transit only works when there's people to take it and places to go. Let's talk about the state of transit in Sacramento. According to Wikipedia, SacRT has one of the lowest ridership per track mile of any city over 500,000. When I walk around our transit stations, I mostly see low-density suburban development and 1,000-stall park and rides, all within a 5-minute walk. I don't believe I need to convince you of how poorly our public transit system is currently designed. Why do we need transit? Well, it's a wealth multiplier for the city. It disproportionately benefits young, old, poor, and disabled households, and it replaces car trips. The list goes on, but I also don't think I need to convince you of reasons to support transit. What I really came here to talk about was to offer my perspective on the downstream impact these changes would have on our neighborhoods and households. The phrase I would use to describe this proposal is gentle density. A core principle of strong towns is that no neighborhood should be subjected to extreme change. But also, no neighborhood should be exempt from change, and that includes wealthier neighborhoods. Many of the proposed FAR changes covered in that map, they cover inner ring, wealthier, streetcar suburbs. These are the perfect places to plan for higher development intensity, precisely because these neighborhoods have historically received investment, not because they are underinvested. These are the communities which are relatively unlikely to be displaced from change. I firmly believe that transit should not be an exclusive service for a select number of the elite. It should serve as many people and places as possible, and we can do that not only by bringing
Thank you
transit
for your
to the
comments.
people,
Your time is complete.
but by bringing people
Thank
to the
you.
transit.
And next speaker is Diana Williams-Corliss. Thomas Lyons.
I have two things to say. Thank you for supporting this. I'm the president of the Newton Booth Neighborhood Association in the southeast corner of Midtown, and I'm really proud to say that our board fully supports staff recommendation. And I really want to thank Matt and Wynn, who took a lot of their time at night and on the phone to educate our group and help us understand the importance of this. Thanks.
Thomas Lyons, then Victoria Cacciatore.
I just wanted to thank you for your support. My name is Thomas Lyons. I live in District 6 in College Glen, and I am an aspiring homeowner, hopefully in the city. And I wanted to thank you for your support and kind of scrapping my notes, but emphasize how important transit-oriented housing is for shifting us away from personally owned vehicles, cars, getting people walking, biking, making it so I don't have to look like a disco ball when I ride my bike so I don't get hit by a car. Yeah, kind of lost my train of thought, but thank you. Yeah.
Thank you for your comments. Victoria, then James Corliss.
Hello, my name is Victoria Cacciatore, and I am a resident of District 4. Very fortunate to be a homeowner there within a 10-minute walk of light rail. I'm here to support this recommendation. I want more people to experience transit in our city and the ease and joy that can accompany it. Last week, my family of 4, plus 3 friends from out of town, were able to use that high-frequency transit to travel to Old Sacramento and watch the tree lighting. Instead of finding a 7-seat vehicle, which, what? Finding parking, I don't even know where the parking is for Old Town, I just don't. We were able to take that high-quality transit, that high frequency, we could enjoy our whole time. My 8-year-old daughter was yammering with her 7-year-old friend from Olympia. They were talking about all their favorite places, how hungry they were. Oh my gosh, how hungry they were. And instead of any of us having to turn around and be like, be quiet on that, we could just visit with our friends and not worry. We could enjoy our whole time. This recommendation will help house more people in Sacramento. It's going to reduce the household transportation burden. People currently spend thousands on personal vehicle ownership each year. It's going to connect people to jobs, to school, to their play, because we all deserve to have a low-stress trip to see Slamson light the tree. And if it can do all of that while helping me entertain friends from out of town, I will take it.
Thank you for your comments. James Corliss, Rosie Ramos, and Dov Caden.
Mayor, council members, James Corliss, Executive Director of the Sacramento Area Council of Governments. We are in strong support of this proposal. We've submitted a letter actually jointly with Sacramento Regional Transit and the Sac Metro Air Quality Management District. You know that you both have a local climate action plan, but we have a regional greenhouse gas target to meet and a really regional carbon reduction plan. This proposal puts housing in the right places, allows the city to grow, allows to provide that missing middle housing, meeting our regional goals, and is a great example of the local leadership we want to see from all of our cities and counties. So thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Rosie Ramos, Dov Caden, Erica Butler.
Good evening, Council. My name is Rosie Ramos, and I'm here today on behalf of the Oak Park Neighborhood Association in District 5 to show our support for this item. The two actions today will make huge strides towards making Sacramento a more equitable, sustainable, and affordable city. And the support shown here today shows that we want, as residents, we want to see initiatives that provide more naturally affordable housing. We want to see the increased opportunities to live near transit and in high opportunity areas. And we want to see our city leadership think differently and be unique when it comes to our solutions around housing, particularly for our most vulnerable populations today. And while this is not the full solution to our housing crisis in the city, it is a step in the right direction, and we implore you to continue to develop anti-displacement and affordable housing policies that can continue to support the actions taken today. We're happy to see this effort move forward and encourage the continued action in making City of Sacramento an affordable and great place to live. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Dov Caden, Erica Butler, Ralph Proper.
Oh, he's famous.
Good evening, Council. My name is Dov Caden. I'm on the Planning and Design Commission, but I'm just speaking as a Sacramento resident tonight. When I moved to Midtown Sacramento 11 years ago for an internship, I lived in a duplex, I lived in a 10-unit multiplex, I lived in an 8-unit walk-up apartment. I made those choices because that's what I could afford. I wouldn't have been able to move here without having those options available. I live in Oak Park now. I have an ADU in my backyard. I have a fourplex behind me. I have a duplex next to me. You know, despite some of the alarmist language that I know you all hear on this, the world has not ended. It feels like every other neighborhood. It's diverse, it's affordable. There's plenty of people to kind of support local businesses so I can walk to all the things that I need. Middle housing is everywhere in Midtown and in Oak Park because it's basically always been allowed. You don't see as much of that housing type in some of the other inner ring neighborhoods because 100 years ago, they successfully used public policy to exclude more affordable housing types explicitly as a means of ensuring that those neighborhoods remained white and wealthy. So we have a moral responsibility to correct that policy choice. And the proposal before you today takes a small but really important step towards actually doing that by removing these kind of neighborhood-specific unit caps and holding everyone to the same standard. So thank you very much, and thank you for your yes vote tonight.
Thank you for your comments. I have 15 more speakers, Erica Butler, then Ralph Proper.
Hi, thank you all for having me. So I moved here a few years ago, back in 2015, into the area. At first, I just lived out of my car, but then I was able to find what was basically like a room and board setup. But of course, always having to room with other people with the shared public areas isn't always the best. So if more missing middle housing was available, I probably would have taken advantage of that. So I definitely support this proposal. And I think that transit could really use having a lot more riders because that could also allow for the expansion of transit. I took transit pretty much exclusively for the first few years living here, but because my car broke down and stuff, but recently I got in a car because it's still so limited, and because of that, I do think that anything that supports transit can be really, really helpful. Just speaking personally and speaking more in terms of the city, I do think that it could benefit the city as a whole as well. There are a lot of jobs coming in, and people coming in to take advantage of those jobs definitely need to be able to have places to stay. So I thank you guys so much for your support.
Thank you for your comments. Ralph Proper, Dan Allison.
Hello, everyone. I'm Ralph Proper. I'm on the board of ECOS, the Environmental Council of Sacramento, and Breathe, California. ECOS was founded over 50 years ago to deal with the prevention of sprawl that destroys habitat and makes our air quality worse. We have one of the worst air qualities in the country still, and thereby to encourage infill development, especially transit-oriented. We push to get mass transit started here, which we achieved, and now we need to move to enable it in terms of having the density that can support transit better. Since then, it's clear that we have two big problems to deal with, and that's climate change and affordable housing and homelessness, and this is what we need also to deal with that, to deal with those problems. We also at ECOS administer Sacramento Investment Without Displacement, and this is a good way to provide the housing that we need for people that would otherwise be displaced. You can even get a mortgage if you don't have a car if you live near transit now, so that makes it easier also. Thanks a lot for city staff for moving this forward the way that we have to. And I'll just put in a plug. We're having our 50th Environmentalist of the Year event on Friday, and we're going to recognize people like Darrell Steinberg, who's been honored for that, and many others. So maybe we'll see you there. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Dan Allison, then Kevin Dimler.
Dan Allison, District 4. I fully support the improvements that staff has made to the missing middle housing program. And I think that the change from a quarter mile to a half mile for transit is probably one of the key things that will make it successful. If you look at the map, the parcels now included in that area don't look huge in comparison to the city, but they are critically important. They are the places where people can get around without using cars. And so the development potential of those areas is tremendous. I always refer back to Midtown in District 4 as the success story of Sacramento. And what this proposal could do is make those many areas along high-frequency transit the same sort of success story for Sacramento. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Kevin Dimler, then Emily Estes.
Good evening. My name is Kevin Dumler. I'm a resident of District 4, and I'm the director of House Sacramento. I strongly support this item and just wanted to tell you real quick about my personal journey and how that relates with missing middle housing. So I moved to Sacramento in 2015 as a recent college grad, and I moved into a sixplex, which is would be legalized under what we're talking about tonight. I had a great job offer and enough savings for a few months of rent. And it was just a really great housing situation. I could bike to work, I could walk to dinner, I lived below my neighbors who became some of my best friends, and most importantly, it was super affordable. Fast forward to today, I actually live on the same street, but now I own a home, I'm married, I have a kid, and to me this really demonstrates the promise of missing middle housing, that whether you're young, retired, you have kids, you're single, you're elderly, there's housing situations that are available for you beyond the traditional single-family home. So tonight we're focused on two items. I'd really just sum it up. How many units per lot? What is the allowable envelope on each of those lots? And so we still have, just to reiterate, we still have tree protections, we still have design standards, there's no change in height limits. And I'm sure there's a few people out there tonight who are a little concerned about what we're hearing. Just want to highlight that I'm also concerned too, but I'm concerned about some, what I'd say, other measures. So I'm concerned as a city, if we don't produce enough housing, our rents will continue to grow. I'm concerned that if we're too timid on addressing access to opportunity, we'll lock in the racial and economic disparities of the past. I'm concerned that if we don't do enough to reduce transportation emissions, we'll give a planet to our children that's too polluted to inhabit. Tonight, these are modest, albeit critical changes that begin to address the existential issues facing our city. So please take strong action today and pass this item as proposed. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Emily Estes, Alex Torres, then Jenny Meidel.
Hello, and thank you for taking the time to listen to public comment today. My name is Emily Estes. I'm a resident of District 4. As a public health professional, I wanted to state my support for both moving from unit caps to floor area ratios and raising FAR to 2 near transit. Both of these policy changes will support improvements in social determinants of health by making housing more affordable and contributing to a more climate-friendly city. I urge City Council to move forward on these changes for a healthier and more equitable future for Sacramento. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Alex Torres, then Jenny Meidel, then Michael Nerby.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Alex Torres here today in support of this proposal. I'm a proud member of House Sacramento. I would say, not to echo too much of what you've heard already, but there's nothing more climate friendly than focusing on transit-oriented development and improving on density in our urban core here. I'll add a slightly different angle in that a lot of our businesses, since we see folks working from home now and not having to commute to our downtown as much, a lot of our small businesses have faced a lot of challenges in getting that foot traffic back. But guess what? If we focus on prioritizing density and building housing near transit, that's really going to benefit all of our small businesses, our restaurants, our bars. You'll hear about me talk about music venues later, but a lot of different opportunities to help our small businesses contribute to economic growth when we focus on transit-oriented development and improving our density. That will help us recover from some of the work patterns that have shifted that foot traffic to away from our downtown, back to our downtown, but more importantly, allowing folks that are moving from states like Texas that have less climate-friendly policies to live here in our urban core, to live where they walk, live where they work, live where they play. So in strong support here today, thank you so much for your support.
Thank you for your comments. Jenny Meitel, Michael Nerby, Cesar Aguirre.
Hello, my name is Jenny Meitel. I'm a resident of District 6 in College Glen, and I'd like to say I'm really excited. I just feel like this is great news, and a lot of places I've lived before say, yeah, we have this huge housing affordability problem. We have climate change that is increasing extreme weather, and we're not going to do anything about it. And that's exactly the opposite of what you all are doing, and I'm so excited and proud. And I would just say I fully support this, and I ask you to continue to be bold to address the problems that we are facing, and specifically for the part of the plan that says within half a mile of transit that is high frequency, we can have this housing. Let's try to have more high frequency transit. I, for example, live a mile, maybe like a quarter mile as the bird flies, but I have to go out and around. I take light rail a lot. I use my bike and I can get there in 10 minutes. And my bike is a heck of a lot more affordable than a car. So I see in the future people will be doing a lot more scootering to transit if it's available, as someone else already said. So thank you all so much.
Thank you for your comments. Michael Nerby and Cesar Aguirre.
Hey everybody, Michael Nerby, resident in District 4, and I'm also in support of the proposal. In fact, I just want to know, and I don't think we're going far enough, to be honest. Specifically related to the floor area ratio near transit, I don't think there's any reason why we should make it 3 or 4 as you get closer to the transit stop. I'd also like to remind council that the stated objective when we started this was to take meaningful action to allow a greater array of housing, more inclusive and equitable neighborhoods. And I'd like to just double click on the max floor area ratio of 0.4 in the R1 zone. I think that's a mistake, and I think that should be increased to 1. I think if we're going through this whole multi-year process, we've started in 2019, it's our vision for 2040, for goodness sakes. I think really it's an opportunity to be taking a large step instead of maybe a small baby step and protecting areas with this R1 zoning. So really overall, I think as a city, we got to get out of our own way to allow the private and public to build more housing in areas that are in demand, not just areas that are around transit. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Cesar Aguirre, then Wesley Sagewalker.
Good evening. I'm here today as a board member of the Sacramento Community Land Trust and also as a lifelong resident of Sacramento and somebody who has the intent to help our city be the best it can be. I believe that means having more robust public transit and having all the amenities that we deserve, like high-density housing. It also means meeting our climate goals, and as it was mentioned by others, it's going to be really hard for us to do that, near impossible, if we do not make these changes, these great changes that are being proposed for us here for the 2040 plan. With the short time that I have, I'd like to let you know that for a good while of my residence here, I primarily relied on public transit and bicycle, and almost lost my life doing it, actually just half a mile from the Fruit Ridge station. And so I'm really fortunate that I am still here. There's many folks who have not survived our streets, and that was nearly 10 years ago that I was hit by a car. And that road has not slowed down since. This is a plan that can do that. This is a plan that can help us make our streets safer for people. It's going to reduce our emissions. It's going to be less cost to the city. It will generate more tax revenue with the higher density, with more units. Obviously, we know that housing is one of our major issues, so why would we say no to something that gives us so many more homes? And yeah, it's just not a stretch to say that this revision would save lives. I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. I have 5 more speakers. Wesley Sagewalker, then Rashid Sadiq.
Good evening, council members. My name is Wesley Sagewalker. I'm here as a part of the development team for the Gateway at Q, located at 21st and Q in Midtown, and Gateway at Alkali, located at 12th and E in Alkali Flats. Our team is working to deliver attainable housing for Sacramento, with many of our units being deed restricted at up to 80% area median income, which is classified as low-income housing. We are proud of our ability to deliver this important segment of housing along with our attainable market rate housing without the need for public dollars being spent as a subsidy. We're committed to delivering housing for Sacramento, and I wanted to take a moment to thank you for the work that's gone into developing such a pro-housing general plan update that's increased the floor area ratio from 1 to 2 in areas near transit and moving from unit caps to FAR citywide as the overarching control on development intensity. It's precisely these kind of pro-housing policies that allow developers like my partners and me to deliver more housing for Sacramento and promote more affordable and attainable housing through greater density. We are hard at work to continue to deliver housing for Sacramento and remain optimistic that the city will continue to pursue pro-housing policies to increase supply and provide housing opportunities for more Sacramentans. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Rashid Sadiq, then Peter Cohen.
Hi, Rashid Sadiq with Lift Up Love Always, and I'm here to express my general support of this policy. And I've spoken to Matt and Nguyen. They're doing a great job. But however, I want to make it clear that the Black community is still losing with this plan, and we're not a part of the plan. And so our median income as Black folks compared to the regular median income is a total different conversation. So I think this plan, although it's well put together, well planned out, I think we're not at the table. And when I say we, I mean the African American community of Sacramento. The ongoing crisis, housing crisis in Sacramento has led to a circumstance for the Black community that we're all displaced. A lot of us are displaced. More than 35% of African Americans in Sacramento are part of our unhoused community. The battle with the generational wealth, and it continues to elude our vulnerable population of the Black community. So why is this framing for the Black housing experience important for the missing middle housing policy? Simply because the policy isn't designed explicitly to meet the realities of the Black residents of Sacramento. Today and tomorrow, and then would be just more false promises continued to continue to an unjust of the housing policy, leaving our African American community behind. Lula wants to believe in a missing middle housing policy, but could be one of the solutions. Could be one of the solutions for the Black families in Sacramento to build their generational wealth, because we need stabilizing opportunities.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete.
Okay.
Thank you. Peter Cohen.
I appreciate you guys.
Tricia Stevens, then Jack Barnes. I have 3 more speakers.
Good evening, council members. My name is Peter Cohen, and I'm actually working with Lula and supporting them in the efforts to shape this missing middle housing policy. And I think you heard Mr. Sadiq say, so there's some confidence that it's actually going to address opportunities for African American residents of Sacramento. We've made a couple of suggestions to planning staff, which will take some more work, but just wanted to give you an idea of what those are today. The first is sort of a really deeper dive into the data, what I would call analyzing the demand demographics. We haven't really heard today about who might be able to access this housing. So if you're able to really dig deeper and say, what is the median income of Black households in Sacramento? And how does that compare to the overall median income? So when you talk about 60% AMI or 80% AMI, you have an idea of how that plays out with the different populations we have in the city. And looking to even closer ground level, you could do that by zip codes. You could really understand if you're doing these missing middle projects in a certain zip code, certain neighborhood, how does that relate to the spending power, if you will, of folks in our communities? That's very important. What's the purpose? Is to connect the dots. This policy is based on what they call natural affordability. There is no affordable housing requirement. The idea is that the market will produce homes that are affordable to someone. And I think we're trying to understand, will they be affordable to Black residents? So that's the analytical piece. The second is to put emphasis on what staff put in their report as an affordability program, to actually make this affordable in a more intentional way. And what would be the incentives, the policies to create that for developers? There's some ideas about local bonus programs, but I would suggest you could think about some shallow subsidies if the city had a dedicated source of revenue, which could be great for next November at the ballot. We want to work with the staff and the policymakers to get this right, and look forward to
Thank you for your comments. Our next speaker is Tricia Stevens, then Jack Barnes.
Good evening, members of the City Council. I'm Tricia Stevens. I'm the president of the East Sacramento Community Association. And our board of directors overall supports the recommendations of missing middle housing. We feel that there's certainly an opportunity in East Sacramento for more housing choices and for increasing the supply of housing, similar to the fabric in East Sacramento that historically occurred with duplexes, fourplexes, bungalow courts scattered throughout the community. And we can support the most recent recommendations with no unit cap and a sliding scale FAR. And we do support the discretionary staff level design review. But we do have one pause and one question. And that has to do with the increase from 1.0 to 2.0 FAR in established neighborhoods within a half mile of high-frequency rail lines. We support TODs in general along commercial corridors, and we've certainly supported a lot of the development that's occurred along 65th Street, but we're not really clear on what the 2.0 really looks like in established neighborhoods with regard to height and bulk and tree canopy and setbacks. And we note that the city studies, the consultant studies, really have not addressed that. So we recommend that you take a pause and provide more information on how this is going to look. And but overall, we do support, and not trying to say we're opposed, but we just need more answers to some of those questions. So thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Jack Barnes is our final speaker on this agenda item.
Hi, Jack Barnes. I'm a resident of District 4. Thank you very much to the city staff for its work on this. I grew up in Sacramento County, less than 2 miles outside the city limits, but I moved into Midtown with some roommates about a year ago because I'm passionate about urbanism. Being able to walk to my grocery store is a real pleasure when both my ankles work. Switching to FAR and having an FAR of 2.0 near transit will allow for more people in more parts of the city to live more affordably and environmentally. And most importantly, this is a crucial step toward deconcentrating both poverty and wealth in our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers on this item.
All right. Thank you to all the members of the public who took their time to come on out today to weigh in on this very important subject matter. We now turn it over to the City Council for direction and a potential vote. I'm going to begin with Councilmember Maple, then Councilmember Valenzuela, then Councilmember Kaplan, and Vice Mayor Guerra. I'll save my comments till the end.
All right. Thank you, Mayor. And I know we had a pretty in-depth hearing last time on this topic, so I won't go into too much depth. I wanted to start by really thanking our staff. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Wynn, for the amount of work that you put into this, the amount of effort that you put in to make sure that we're actually getting community voices here, and that even though it can sometimes and has been historically a contentious process, being willing to have those tough conversations, even hearing some of the comments tonight about people who said, thank you for taking the time to answer my questions and explain things to me. Sometimes that's all it takes, is to help people understand why it's important to their lives and their neighborhoods and their neighbors. So just really appreciate that work. I also just really want to say I'm proud of my city. Instead of a room full of people decrying how increased density in their neighborhood would make it worse somehow, we see a room full of people who are welcoming in new density and new housing with welcome arms. That's a pretty big deal, and it's not something you see in every city. I know I've been to a few different city council meetings in other cities around the state, and I can tell you this is not the norm. And so I think that this is a really uniquely Sacramento thing. We welcome our neighbors, we welcome new people coming in, and we recognize that we do have a crisis here on our hands. We don't have enough housing for the number of people who need them, including those on our streets and including those who want to move to our great city. And so this is part of this small part, but it's a part of the solution. I'm also really thrilled because this is democracy in action. The last hearing that we had, I believe, 0 opposition, and again, a room full of people showing up in support. And what happened as a result of that is staff went back to work and they came back with something that was what you asked for. I think that that's wonderful, that that we heard you and that we put it into action, and this is literally the fruits of your advocacy. So thank you for that. I don't want to belabor the detail just because many of our speakers went into it. I went into it last time, but I do think it's really important to point out one thing, and I think Mr. Corliss said this at one of our other hearings and many of our other speakers. Our housing strategy is our climate strategy, right? Making sure that we have housing and dense housing next to transit so that people can make different choices about transportation, so that they can walk and bike and take RT. That is a part of our climate strategy as a city. And I know I sit on the RT board along with several of my colleagues here, and I know that we are also in agreement that we need to make sure that we have more funding and build more transportation so that people can always choose that option. But this is part of it, right? Living near transit is a guarantee that we're going to have more people using it, and that's going to make it more sustainable over time. So I'm very supportive of that. I also don't want to name any names specifically, but I'm really heartened to see neighborhood groups supporting this that maybe wouldn't have several years ago. We have groups that are coming out and saying, hey, we want to welcome more people to our neighborhood, and we want to see those changes. I think that's really, really incredible, and I'm glad to see it. So I think this is our time to be bold. I think that we already are a city that leads in a lot of ways throughout the state, and we're doing that once again. And I'm really thrilled to be a part of it. And so with that, I would love to make a motion to, let me know if I'm saying this right. Number 1, increase the FAR ratio within half a mile of transit, and then to utilize our revised missing middle housing to regulating using FARs. Did I say that right? Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much, Councilmember Maple. Councilmember Valenzuela.
Thank you. And I was just sitting here reflecting, when I first came into office, this conversation had just started, and oh my goodness, you would think the sky was literally falling on some parts of Sacramento. And I remember literally standing in Land Park, which is now in District 7, filming a video with the bee about what this meant for the city. We just had a big hearing on it, and I was trying to talk about like why I was supporting this, and literally residents were like walking by me on the sidewalk being like, yeah, but we don't know this is a good idea. And I was like, ooh, this is gonna be really hard. And so I just wanted to remember that that was just a couple years ago, and I remember having many panic call emails to Matt being like, please get on this neighborhood meeting with me because they're going to ask me all these questions and I'm not sure how to answer them. And all of that work that happened from the staff level side and the commitment that it took for you all to be disciplined enough to really keep pushing the conversation and saying, let's figure it out, let's figure it out, let's figure it out, is not something that many cities have, and it's something that I forever am grateful for. Whenever anybody comes to my office and says, I want to work for you, I'm like, look at the community development department, because we were like there doing some really cool stuff, and that's something that I'm really proud of and just want to commend you all on. In addition, as my colleague mentioned, to all the advocates that I know that were out there with us at many of those meetings and having those conversations and really not giving up on trying to figure out how to make this work for their communities. So I just want to recognize that it was not an easy road, and there were plenty of off-ramps that you could have taken to make this easier for this general plan update, and you were committed to a strong vision, and I'm just really proud to be here tonight, as was mentioned, with a bunch of neighborhoods and people supporting. So I do, and I also want to appreciate the folks that want us to go further. I do want to push back on the comment about this being a baby step. This is not a baby step. This is a really, really big step, and I think we can definitely keep taking more steps. I don't think any of us want to keep waiting, another 8-10 years to reevaluate. If there's an opportunity and interest to keep talking, let's do it. But I do just want to say this is significant. I did read all of the comments that staff got on this, by the way. I spent a good deal of time on this on Monday, and I want to start by saying, not start because I already started, but I want to say that this zoning change is not happening in a vacuum. This is a part of an interconnected puzzle of our general plan. And I'm looking specifically at Mr. Sadiq because I want to lift up what you were saying. And I've said it before, this doesn't work unless we have a strong housing element that has actual policies around building and protecting housing and preventing displacement and making sure that we're building housing for everybody. And I know next week we're going to be talking about the mixed income housing ordinance. And I really hope that every single person in this room comes to that hearing as well. That is a really important conversation about whether or not we were going to require a percentage of these new units being built to be for people who actually live and work in these communities. And that's part of many conversations to come. Like some of you might not know that our tenant protection program actually expires next year. There was a sunset date on it. And so we've really got to have a lot of work ahead of us to make sure that this missing middle vision that we're portraying actually works. It doesn't work without those policies. It doesn't work without the urban forestry master plan, right? It doesn't work without the environmental justice element, looking at things like urban heat island. It doesn't work without design guidelines that look at things like accessibility and universal design in units so that all of our units don't have stairs going into them, so that maybe people who have limited mobility can actually access these buildings as well. There's just so many parts of this. So it's hard to portray that in a general plan update because it's literally like multiple elements and hundreds of pages. But I hope that you all who are here tonight with this beautiful vision of what this means for your community stay engaged in the rest of the general plan conversation, because we still have a lot of work to do to make that vision a reality, especially for neighborhoods who've always been left behind. I do have 2 requests, and I'm going to second the motion, but I'm very proud of the fact that the Central City has been the test bed for things like no parking requirements. It has been good. It has been not good in some places. And one of the biggest lessons we've learned, and staff, you know this, I've talked a lot about proactive parking management. We can't wait for the building to get built and see dozens of cars pop up everywhere and then say, oh no, we need to figure out how to manage parking in this area. And so I really want us to get a lot more proactive with parking management. Alley maintenance. This came up last night with the constituent. I have a resident who lives in an ADU off of T Street whose alley was paved when his ADU was built. The pavement is cracked. There is no maintenance coming. Nobody is in charge of maintaining the alleys. The city doesn't maintain the alleys. What is our plan for ensuring that the alleys are paid attention to? Who's in charge of making sure that those are maintained is a really big question that's come up that I do think warrants further exploration, not necessarily as part of the zoning changes because that's specific, but as part of complementary work that we still need to do with the rest of the general plan. But with that, I am very proud to second this motion. As many people said, I've never had any opposition from Central City neighborhoods on this. We have been the test bed for this. We love it. You can't walk down a street without seeing a house of, you've no idea. I've literally been door knocking and look at a list and be like, why are there 10 names on this list? And you realize that they've rented out the rooms in this house and it's a senior couple who has all these tenants basically living with them as roomers, and it's just really cool. And I love the fact that that exists in my community, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that in more parts of Sacramento. So thank you.
And Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Mayor. I too think needs to go to staff. This is a big overhaul. I hear you when we say we need to go further. I think it bears witness, if you look history of where Sacramento has been, this is a significant move. I think it's sometimes always a balance of how far we can go, but I want to thank the advocates for pushing. I want to thank the staff for listening. As Councilmember Maple said, we had a big hearing and I had a big long list of things, and my biggest thing was I was looking at the maps, because to know me is to know in my office. I have my council map and I have my land use planning map, and they're big in my office because my area is set to grow. I have the open space and I have the land, and one of the things we talked about was these new proposals really aren't going to impact my area. How is it that I hear everybody and they live in D4? Well, I want them to live in D1. I want D1 to be walkable. I want D1 to have transit. I want D1 to have a safe bike route and people to be able to come down. And so moving the FAR is huge, because if you look at land use planning map 6, That's cool. Because what you might not know, and it's probably staff is going, oh God, she's going to order another map, is that you're moving it in North Natomas. Many of y'all, or some of us have been around, we call it Arco Arena. It's been renamed Innovation Park. That massive infill development will actually have an increase for over 2. That could be up to 5. And if you look at where the proposed green line is, when we talk about the potential 5,700 missing middle units, that's in D1. That's in my area. That's what I'm going to start talking to the developers about, of when they're looking at their plans and how we do things. And even in some of the commercial, having that rezoned for residential and pushing this. Now I got to start calling Henry Lee and start harassing him at RT because we got a proposed green line. That may take forever. Well, then let's move for rapid bus transit. North Natoma should have that. So then we have the ability to increase density, and we still have a way for residents who are living in the missing middle to be able to find a way, if they want to work downtown, to be living in the suburbs, and how we integrate that. Because if you look, this is in the infill of where Arco Arena. It's along my entire new North Lake community next to the airport. It's all along East Commerce. So thank you to staff, thank you to advocates, because D1 is part of this city, and we have to do our job about addressing, the inequities that have existed while still using the land that is available for development, so that we can be part of the solution as a city, and not something that people just say that's where, people who can afford houses go to live. So thank you, staff, for that. Thank you, advocates, for that. This is a great move forward.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Vice Mayor Guerra.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I got to thank staff significantly on this. If I think back about where we were even, 5 years ago, trying to look at pushing for more opportunities to address this chicken and egg problem of trying to get bus routes, to look at the first last mile challenges, and figuring out ways to expedite housing construction. Even for some of the small minor issues, there was significant opposition. And I think it's a testament to the work that our city employees have done in the outreach, even before the pandemic happened, and then during the pandemic, of constant meetings. And I appreciate the willingness to take time and allow the community to express their frustrations and their concerns on some of these issues. It's led to the success that we have today. To that point, I also want to thank Ms. Stevens, who came today, who I have to credit for. I learned the ropes when I was chair of the County Planning Commission, and I appreciate her volunteerism and using her expertise and her 30 or 40 years of planning, and now doing it for the community. And it was one of those. Her question was the same question I posed to the staff, and I think the answer is simple, and some of that's going to be coming through the design standards. But Matt, maybe you can respond a little bit to that concern, because this isn't the last stop. We still have other steps moving forward to those concerns that some people may still have.
Yes, thank you, Vice Mayor. Yeah, we're here tonight because these are really 2 critical path items for the general plan. There are a lot more details to work out, and looking forward to a lot more community conversations to work out those details. But generally speaking, we're looking at moving forward those preliminary recommendations for development and design standards that would maintain that neighborhood scale even for an FAR of 2. So we know the importance of height and bulk control for that neighborhood scale in our R1 and R2 zones. But yeah, looking forward to a lot more conversations around all these details.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Matt. And I think that's important, because the design standards are going to help address the quality and impact and blending into the neighborhood. I mean, I've run into, some fourplexes that I thought were single-family homes. I didn't know they were fourplexes. And even in Tahoe Park, where it's the beauty of that neighborhood. One, we were able to start there because we were able to move into a 2-1. There aren't a lot of 2-1s or smaller homes being built these days. There were in the 50s, when many people from the war came back and needed a place to live. People need a place to live today. And if you drive around the neighborhood, you're going to drive through and you may think that you're seeing a single-family home, but it'll be another twoplex or fourplex or a triplex. And it's made for a very rich, diverse community with different incomes and different experiences, you know. And so to that, I want to thank staff for that aspect and for answering those questions and concerns. The last piece I'll say is to reiterate, I get to serve on both the Sac Metro Air District. I chaired it for the last 4 years, and now on the California Air Resources Board. But not only climate change, but our current day air quality issues are a significant issue and a challenge. And if we don't think about Sacramento being a leader and an example for our entire county and 6-county region, our air that we will breathe today, our kids that will be impacted by those air quality particulates and ozones will have lasting effects. Looking at these commercial corridors, and I'm proud of Sacramento for leading on the commercial corridor revitalization. The earlier item we had with the Opportunity Center, making those commercial corridors that were once the old highways, now making them and converting them into real neighborhoods, I think is something to be extremely proud of here today. Proud to support this, Mr. Mayor. I want to thank the staff and the community over there, but it really is a testament to the hours and time that the staff have done to go out and meet with the community. And one piece that I know there's criticism about, you know, the FAR on this, but we've included something unique, which is the open space requirement as well. Acknowledging that we also need to build a tree canopy as we're doing this to capture not only the carbon and particulates, but to ensure that we are creating shade and space so that it's a walkable environment, not just a place where people live. So with that, thank you, Mr. Mayor, for this opportunity, and proud to support the item.
Thank you.
And look forward to working with the neighborhoods on these last design standard issues that I think are critical to resolve.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, so I'll try to keep this short. I know most of my colleagues have already spoken, but definitely want to do my thank yous to Matt and Wynn. Thank you so much for your hard work, your heart and hustle to get us to this moment. I'm really excited and also really proud of our city in taking this step. I think what we're doing at this moment is just, at the end of the day, really giving the city more tools to build more housing around transit, right? And this is about just being bold and being progressive and moving in that direction. We all know that our families and our youth, our young people are happier, they're healthier, and more successful when they grow up in high opportunity neighborhoods. And that usually includes, right, areas with mixed income housing, convenient access to services, jobs, especially along transit. And then something I also just wanted to uplift, you know, I wasn't going to speak until Rashid came up and spoke, and I really just wanted to take this opportunity to speak to him and also just members in my district where I have actually heard concern. Rashid, I just want to say first, thank you for sharing your insight and asking the question of who will be able to access these middle income housing, right? I think that's a very legitimate question, and it's a fair question, it's an honest question, and it's something all of us need to grapple with. Because when we think about middle income housing, yes, it's folks of color, but the majority of it are white folks as well, right? And so I appreciate you, bringing to light for us really the realities when we talk about middle income housing. So you're not the only one asking, and I really appreciate you speaking up. And I share your concern, but I also want to share why I'm voting to support this, because I think that's important, and holding space for both of that, right? You know, I see this vote as really a larger part of the work that we have to do to ensure housing affordability become a reality in the city of Sacramento, especially for low-income communities of color. And I say that because I know that after housing costs, you know, for my uncles, my aunties, folks who live in Meadowview, after the housing costs, transportation is the second largest expense, right? Not just for middle-income families, right? Scrap them out right now. Let's talk about low-income folks of color, right? Transportation makes up a huge component of their monthly annual income, their monthly and their annual income. And so any conversation about housing affordability, you got to examine the transportation costs and their proximity to transit. And that's one reason why, you know, after listening to the concerns as well, I'm really sitting in that space and asking myself, what is the right move for our communities of color, right? And I don't see this being like a siloed tool. Like
it can't be successful if we don't also work on a general plan. And I also want to say, like, right now, I think you heard from all my colleagues that they're supportive of this. Seems pretty positive, right? But we're about to have a conversation about mixed income housing ordinance, right? We're going to update that. And I'm hoping that the colleagues who are supporting this will also be bold and courageous and progressive on updating our mixed income housing ordinance if we really want to protect low income communities of color. And so I just wanted to say that as well. And so for me, the reason why I'm voting to support this is because I see this as one tool, as one part of a larger one part of a larger movement that needs to happen to ensure housing affordability for all of our families, especially our Black community, our Southeast Asian, our Native folks who are often don't have access to those opportunities, right? And so I just want to say thank you for that. And so I'm really excited about this moment. I think I'm really proud of my city for taking this bold move, but I also know that we can only be successful if we look at the whole entire picture. And so again, just thank you to Wynn and Matt. Thank you for your hard work, and just to everyone who came out to support this. I just want to say thank you for your time. It's 7:20 at night. Y'all could be homes with your loved ones, eating dinners, but you're here really advocating to make sure that the city of Sacramento is moving in the right direction. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Talamantes.
All right, so my colleagues said everything I had to say. I think I'm the seventh speaker. So I'm also happy to support this item. You know, it's important to increase housing. It's ADUs, duplexes, triplexes, fourplexes. My grandpa's brother owns a 5-plex, I guess that's what you would call it, near Curtis Park, and that's his retirement, and that's what he lives off of. So, and we have a lot of tenants there, and it's really important that we continue that throughout the city of Sacramento. We need to build more housing around transit. Unfortunately for myself and my colleagues to the right of me, we lack transit north of the river. We have no connection to downtown where many of our jobs are at. So I love this policy and I'm super supportive of it, but we also have to plan around suburban development. And what are we gonna do? Are we gonna get light rail finally? It was supposed to come in 2025. We're 2 years away, guys. But we need to make sure that we're planning transportation. I mean, we talk about climate change, but we're just gonna get more cars on the I-5 and down Northgate, down Truxlow and onto the 160. So as we move forward in these conversations to all our regional boards from SACOG to RT, like, please consider over 150,000 people that live north of the river that don't have a good connection to downtown, where many of our jobs are at. So I am supportive of it, but just want to make sure that staff is like mindful of that. You know, I'm not sure how many of our staff in the planning departments or the building departments live in Natomas or in District 2, but something to consider. And then I know Mayor Pro Tem Bang brought up the mixed income housing ordinance, and I know we have, for anyone paying attention to housing in the city of Sacramento, we have like 5 different policies right now, from workforce housing to this one. We just have a lot of housing policies, and so something for staff that I would love to see as we move forward is to have a holistic view of how much we're charging in development fees for our parks department, planning department, and all the, you know, water, utilities. I just really want to see a holistic report on how much we're charging as we move forward with housing policy in the city of Sacramento. So happy to support this. Yay to more housing. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, and for the next few years, and looking forward to seeing more on the market. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all my colleagues and to the members of the public and the city staff. Great job. Really solid work. Very thoughtful presentation. You know, I want to start by saying that there is no question that for this policy to succeed and for all of our policies to succeed, this community is going to need a permanent source of funding for housing, for transit, and for safe streets. Whether, and you know, we are about testing the mood of the voters in real time, and we will see whether or not 2024 or 2026 is the right time to make that play, because it's what the community needs, And it's really what the community demands, even though it requires resources and thus a revenue source or a tax in order to attain it. So that's politics and elections, and it's something we're looking at. But cities should never lose sight of that vision, no matter its timing. The second thing is I want to add one thing to the discussion, and that is the bill by Assemblymember Phil Ting last year that was signed by the governor that allows an owner of an ADU, a homeowner with an ADU, to sell the ADU to someone and allow that third party to become an owner of an ADU. Cities have to opt in order to be eligible to be able to provide that additional opportunity for people. And I would like to request that as part of this process, sooner rather than later, that we bring back that decision with a positive recommendation for the city to opt in. Because we talk about the need, obviously, for more rental housing, of course. Ownership is important as well. And given the affordability crisis, the idea that somebody could buy at least stake in an ADU that would escalate over time in price and be able to then sell that and move up, right? That's the Sacramento dream. And so we have to opt in order to do that. And I'd appreciate that being part of the consideration. On this important policy, I think I told this story before, so you'll excuse me, but I think it's relevant again for me in terms of sort of the philosophical dimensions of what we're talking about here tonight, because this is many things: smart growth, jobs, housing balance, housing affordability. It's SB 375. And I remember back in 2007, trying to push that bill over the finish line and standing on the Senate floor and debating a very smart and earnest Republican colleague who hated the bill and called it socialism, that this is government telling people where they have to live. And so if this in some way is one piece of implementation of that state law, it's really interesting to consider what this is really about, because it's the exact opposite of what that critic said. It's actually government getting out of the way and enabling people to live where and how they want. Because right now, we can't do the things to add the number of units that are called for in this policy. So in some ways, I don't want to lose any votes here, this is actually a bit of a conservative idea around government getting out of the way and saying, let people have more opportunity to choose where to live and for everyone to be able to afford the ability to live where they want to live. The second part of this that I think is really important, is going to come up next week as well in the discussion around the mixed income housing ordinance, is that we have two equally compelling imperatives when it comes to affordable housing. One is pure volume. We need more units, there's no question. That's obvious to all of us. But the second one that's more easily forgotten and can never be forgotten is we have a need to drive towards more economic integration. And we can't just, gather a bunch of money and all the policies and all that and say, well, you build it and you build it over here. It's economic integration. And that's what this missing middle policy helps further, is economic integration, that we're a better community when people live together, who come from different worlds, different backgrounds, different occupations, different experiences in life. That's what this is about. And the opposite of that, of course, is the history of discrimination and redlining, which was, that was intentional. And we're overcoming it in so many ways, right? Certainly we've overcome it in law. We've overcome it, I think, in many ways in our hearts and in our attitudes, but it's the policies that still force people of limited economic means who are disproportionately people of color to live elsewhere, that are places of pride too, by the way. Great places of pride and community, and so we're investing in all of our communities. But everybody has the right to try to do their very best to choose to live where they want to live and to live with others. That's why this is so powerful, and that's why there's so many people out here tonight. Thank you. But maybe I got more to say. No. All in favor? Aye. Oppose, abstain. It's great. Thank you, everybody. Great work. Okay, we now move to item 19, and that is the Sacramento Sociable City Assessment. Are we sociable? Or are we not? That is the question. All in favor of being sociable? Tina, hi.
Hey there, how's everybody doing? All righty.
A little tired.
Okay, I know.
Short.
It's been a long night. I have a little bit of present. I go pretty quickly. You know, I can talk kind of fast.
Okay.
So, good evening, Mayor and City Council. I'm Tina Levote, Nighttime Economy Manager, and this evening I'll be sharing the findings and the recommendations for our Sociable City Assessment. When I was appointed to this position last year, one of my major priorities was conducting a Sociable City Assessment. Although I've worked closely in the nighttime economy for more than a decade, I realized that I wanted to learn more about where we are and what we need to do to enhance our city's nightlife. So, earlier this year, our office contracted with the Responsible Hospitality Institute, or RHI, to conduct a Sociable City Assessment. RHI is a nonprofit organization with decades of experience in nightlife and social economy management that helps cities plan safe and inclusive places to socialize. Our office has been working with Alicia Scholler, I guess I can say your name right, girl. I've been working with you for a few months, Vice President, who's here with me tonight, as well as Jocelyn Kane, a senior consultant, and Susan Hernandez, their events and media manager. So the assessment is an in-depth analysis of Sacramento's social economy, identifying our strengths, challenges, and opportunities. We're going to use the findings and recommendations to identify priorities to develop and implement a strategic plan for a safe, vibrant, and well-managed social economy. So bear with me, I do have a PowerPoint presentation. I'm just gonna go ahead, am I doing this the right way? Learn how to work the tools, Tina. So, since most of our nightlife and social economy is within the central city and resources are limited, this report focuses primarily on Midtown and downtown. However, we know that there are opportunities throughout Sacramento. I'm gonna say that again. There are opportunities throughout Sacramento where people can go to dine, play, and socialize. The findings and recommendations in the report are applicable citywide. So our consultants conducted a series of meetings. So we had 26 virtual and on-site visits as part of the assessment process. So they came on site February through June. We had 3 on-site visits. There were 10 virtual meetings to get a little background. We had 16 on-site meetings that included listening sessions and roundtables. We also had meetings in specific areas of interest, such as women's focus groups, a venue operator meeting, which I want to state just included the venue operators with our consultants so they could speak freely, neighborhood associations meeting, as well as individual meetings with key stakeholders. While they were on site, our consultants conducted observational tours, and they happened to be in town for St. Patrick's Day, one of our busiest weekends. In addition to the holiday celebrations, they got to experience March Madness. They went on ride-alongs with our police entertainment team and watched how they managed closing time at 20th and K Streets, one of our busiest social clusters. And if you want to see how well our entertainment team works with our businesses, be at 20th and K at 1:30 a.m. So we had nearly 100 participants as part of the process. We had representation from 30 social venues, 12 city divisions, 2 PBIDs, 5 neighborhood associations. We also had representatives from our state ABC and regional transit. And their participation will continue throughout the process, as our goal is to engage these folks as we move forward with the report recommendations. So this really is the framework for our analysis. The report is structured based on these building blocks, and the specific recommendations are identified within each of the 6 core measures of a sociable city seen here. This is how the assessment differs from the recent live music census and its regulatory recommendations. Although you will note a few similar recommendations, the assessment has a more holistic approach to our social economy. So let's just go ahead and dive into this beautiful sociable city plan. First, I wanted to share a few of the strengths that RHI noted for our nighttime and social economy. One of the things I often share with people is how our nightlife program is recognized by other cities. And a lot of times people think, nightlife city, Sacramento, noted. We really have a great program. We have, first of all, a lot of diverse social offerings from our venues to our festivals. We already have an Office of Nighttime Economy. Thank you. This is often a recommendation for other cities for their assessments. We have a strong interdepartmental partnerships. Although code, fire, and police are the primary team, our program staff includes several city divisions such as planning, zoning, parking, traffic, the city attorney's office, and special events. We actively collaborate with business districts and operators to address and resolve issues. We have dedicated police and code compliance teams for our nighttime and social economy. We're often contacted by other jurisdictions who want to emulate these teams. And our entertainment and special event permits are conditioned to ensure safety, as well as address quality of life issues such as sound and trash. So I'm just going to go through the recommendations in terms of these 4 blocks. I'm not going to cover every recommendation on every slide, so don't worry. I know it's late and you're tired. So the first building block for a sociable city is to lay a foundation. And these are the actions that are related to implementing systemic changes in developing nighttime governance to sustain vibrancy while managing impacts and risks. So these recommendations include creating multiple levels of entertainment permits and establishing a one-stop shop for city social economy related permits. I want to note that staff is already working with our city attorney's office to explore how to implement a limited entertainment permit to allow more businesses to provide entertainment with fewer restrictions. Now you'll see there's a lot of recommendations on this slide. You'll be happy to know I am not going through all of those. The second building block for a sociable city is planning for people. These recommendations focus on quality of life and mobility issues. One of the key recommendations in this area is mitigating mixed-use impacts and creating proactive systems for coexistence, especially related to sound. This is very important as we develop housing in areas with existing social clusters. We're also going to focus on how we can enhance pedestrian experiences, so we need to continue improving lighting and activating spaces. The third building block is related to assuring safety, and these recommendations engage public, private, and government stakeholders vested in public and venue safety. A vital recommendation is investing in special event management systems to streamline review processes and improve interdepartmental coordination. We pride ourselves on being the city of festivals. However, we need to ensure that we have the necessary staff, tools, and technology to support this. For entertainment permits, creating a best practices guide would improve consistency for venue operators. This would be very useful for new businesses to help them understand industry standards and regulatory requirements. And then finally, we have the fourth building block, which is enhancing vibrancy. These recommendations support the creative entrepreneurs, performers, and social spaces that comprise the nighttime vibrancy. So I want to note that there's a recommendation that, it didn't get in here, and I'm going to note it. There's one that's related to creating a citywide social venue association that would help align operators to provide a unified voice for advocacy. Unfortunately, it was dropped from the summary, but it's an important part of our plan. And this recommendation would help to improve communication among our operators to address and resolve common issues and concerns. Also, we want to work on improving promotion of Sacramento's social venues. that would help highlight nightlife and live entertainment opportunities. So, for example, it'd be very beneficial to have Visit Sacramento and our large event producers collaborate more with our local businesses to promote patronizing bars, restaurants, and nightclubs before and after those large events. Also, we want to work on creating a guide for special event organizers that can help identify inefficiencies and reduce barriers for event producers. We understand that there are some necessary improvements that would help streamline those processes to make it easier for our event organizers. It would also serve as a more equitable tool to educate organizers on how to produce safer events. So tonight's presentation is an overview. The Sociable City Plan provides more detailed information on the findings and recommendations, and a link to the full plan is going to be available on the Office of Nighttime Economy website. The plan will include a brief summary and synopsis, the methodology used to develop and recommend the recommended actions in each of the 6 core measures and the governance analysis, and the detailed action plans. It also includes recommended next steps and resources. So now the assessment is complete. Let's bring it all together. RHI likes to describe the role of a nighttime economy manager as a conductor leading an orchestra. Well, I just go back to my days, and I remember being in the church with my dad. And so I think of it more as being a choir director, providing guidance and direction to attain harmony in our nighttime and social economy. And the assessment will serve as the sheet music we will use to get to our goals. So what are our next steps? So tomorrow, we're going to be facilitating a leadership summit with assessment participants. So everyone who participated in the assessment was invited to be part of this summit. So we're going to discuss the findings with them, review the recommendations, and develop an action plan. Participants will assist us in prioritizing goals and developing the framework for our strategic plan. We're working with RHI and economic development consultants, John Stover and Associates, to complete an economic storefront study of the social, economic, and employment contributions of dining and entertainment establishments in Midtown and downtown. This analysis will help to quantify the contributions of our social economy in our central city, and we hope to have the results completed in early 2024. And finally, we're working to coordinate and implement comparable findings and recommendations in the Sociable City Assessment and the Sacramento Music Census Regulatory Review, such as the limited entertainment permit. So in closing, I want to again note that the recommendations and actions provided in the plan are not the end. Instead, they represent a starting point for our office that we'll use to develop and implement our strategic plan to ensure that Sacramento has a safe, vibrant, and well-managed social economy. This concludes my presentation, but I'd like to thank everyone who assisted on the project. I especially want to recognize Lynette Hall, our Community Engagement Manager, who provided the support and actually loaned me some staff with Jessica Davalos-Prieto, Administrative Analyst, and I'm going to tell you, that girl is a rock star, because we would have never done it without Jessica. Then I'd also like to introduce John Adair, who's been recently appointed as the Nighttime Economy Administrative Analyst. Wave your hand, John. There you go. Yes, we doubled the size of my office. So with that, Alicia and I are available to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you so much, Tina, not only for your presentation, but your leadership and the important role you're taking in our city. Everyone has great confidence in you, so thank you. Let's hear from the public, and then we'll turn it over to the council members.
Thank you, Mayor. I have 3 speakers on this item: James Allison, Jay Eldon, then Alex Torres.
Good evening, Council, Mayor, and staff. I'm here with the Midtown Association just to express our brief but immense gratitude to Tina, the city staff, and the entire RHI team for the tremendous work that has gone into bringing this assessment forward. It's so easy to forget about the social economy and the businesses that make it up simply because they open after the sun goes down. But really, these businesses are the backbone of the central city and really the unsung hero that drives so much activity into the central city and really into Midtown. This assessment gives us the ability to really paint a tangible picture of the contributions of this economic sector, really understanding the tax revenue, the jobs, and the really overall economic viability that is brought forward by these businesses. This in turn allows us to really have a strong understanding as we go forward and create some thoughtful and dedicated policy that's really aimed at supporting the nighttime economy, the operators, our visitors, and really creating a safe and welcoming space that's vibrant and celebrated for everyone in our community. So thank you, Tina, and thank you for the time to be able to put this assessment together and get it to the finish line. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Jay Eldon?
Hello, City Council. Yeah, I have a few points I want to make on this. I've been a full-time street performer in Sacramento for over 5 years. I play accordion at farmers markets, outside Tower Theater. I hope this plan will be supportive of the street performers. I know street performers are having a hard time finding places to play. There are ordinances that support street performers, like you don't need to have a performing permit and stuff like that if you're a street performer in Sacramento. So I hope that security and managers will be cool to the street performing community. I myself, in the last year, for some reason, it's just changed. The tone has changed, or like in the last year, I've been told I can't play at spots I've played at for years. And I've had to advocate for myself, and I've been able to maintain my position at different busking spots. But it's only because I was able to advocate for myself that I was able to keep playing where I play. And that's my whole livelihood. It has been for 9 years and over 5 years in SAC. Also, in my free time, I am an advocate for the homeless community in Sacramento, who are also my patrons. I'm really concerned about how this plan would consider our large and growing homeless population. The plan says it'll address nuisance behavior and restore a sense of order in public space. It also says it'll improve pedestrian experience by removing blight. But both of these sound to me to be coded language talking about our homeless neighbors. These homeless neighbors are actively being pushed out of public spaces. It says it will promote quality of life for all Sacramento residents, and I'd ask this plan to consider those residents that are homeless and how this will improve the quality of their life. And yeah, I'm kind of going off script because I started writing stuff down, but I would hope, just imagine ways that we could improve the quality of the homeless community's life with everyone, because they are
Thank you
also
for your comments.
pending events.
Next speaker is Alex Torres.
Good evening. Great to see you all again. Alex Torres speaking to you today in my capacity as a board member of the California Capital Venues Coalition. We are comprised of independent brick and mortar venues here in Sacramento. Some of our iconic spaces in the city like Harlow's, Torch Club, Crest Theater, Cafe Colonial, and more. We also work with partners in the bar and nightclub spaces as well. I want to thank the mayor for his leadership in stating the goal of our city to be a music city with venues and nightlife economy that thrives, and where artists have the lots of opportunity to gig and live, especially if we build more housing like we just made a very affirmative, very strong decision to do. The sociable city assessment findings result in many of the same findings yielded by the city's music census. We have a good amount of work to do, to be honest, to improve our nightlife and live music scene to realize the potential we have as a city. But I do want to thank Tina. I want to thank the entire city staff for the effort on this. We haven't seen this type of concerted effort in this space before, and I think that's just like we saw in housing, how things have shifted. It's shifted in a very positive way in this direction, and so I do want to say thank you. But there is urgent need to move forward with substantive reform on the city's entertainment permit process, as well as efforts to help venues that book local talent continue to do so. It has been documented that independent venues nationwide, but especially here in Sacramento, are hurting in the wake of large stadium tours operated by corporate entities and rising cost of operation. Further, our downtown recovery, again, has been a challenge. As we pursue the larger reform objectives, and hopefully with some urgency, we should be able to walk and chew bubblegum at the same time and consider ways to collaborate with small stages in our city, assist artists at the same time. I understand there's some initiatives in the works to help venues cover some of their costs when they book local artists. So again, a big thank you to city staff for leading that effort. as one operator told me, it's tough to keep coming in day after day when you don't necessarily see a light at the end of the tunnel. Eventually, you just call it quits. So for our historic stages, our iconic stages, we can't let that happen. But a lot of conversations to come. Look forward to the work.
Thank you for your comments. Mayor, I have no more speakers on this agenda.
All right, thank you. Let's hear from the members. I have one brief comment. Councilmember Valenzuela.
Well, I'm sure you have a few comments, Mayor, because this is the whole state of the city for you.
Well,
I
well,
know,
that's
it's
true.
okay.
I'll try to.
I just want to, I need to mark the moment because I know, Tina, I mean, you've not been in this role for long. And as soon as you got in the door, you're like, this is what I want to do. And you've got it done. And I have all the confidence that you're going to keep doing the things now that you have this report in your hand. I also just have to tell my colleagues, I mean, I got to go to the RHI Summit in New York with Tina. She organized a whole city delegation. I'm pretty sure we were the only city, as she mentioned, that had our community development team there, our community engagement team there, our fire team was there, our PD team was there, our code team was there. I mean, there was literally an army of Sacramentans that descended on New York City to go learn about what other cities were doing and to teach. I mean, you were on multiple panels and everybody who was like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky to have Tina in this position. And I really, really do see that today as I did the first day that you got the appointment. And I just want to say how happy I am that you've gotten to this point and how excited I am to see what happened. Also, thank you for using that Sister Act graphic because I'm definitely watching that movie when I get home tonight. It's one of my favorites and that really, it was a nice way to end the presentation. I do want to say, as you mentioned, that most of this is in my district, not all of it. And so we have been a test bed for the good and sometimes the not as good. And I want to recognize great operators like Bob Simpson, who's hiding in the back, who did not give comment. He's just kind of in the back corner listening and watching as always. But, we have these fantastic operators that we can learn from. We have all these great lessons. And I want that to be used to expand the entertainment economy across the city because I think every corner of Sacramento, just with our music talent alone, I mean, people in every neighborhood are doing things. We're working on a show this Saturday at Mozak with local artists. And it's so stinking cool. When they told me what they wanted to do, and they're like, we just need $2,000, council member. And I'm like, that's all? Like this is little tiny steps we could take that would open up a whole door for performers locally to get to do what they love and actually do it in a way that feels sustainable and safe and something that they can really mimic and make a career out of. I do need to say also, yes to the sound ordinance update. I know this is the #1 call and conversation that you and I have and that the events planning staff had and something that I know as more events happen in other districts is going to come up. And so I'm really excited to see that continue to be on the list. And I do, again, want to thank the mayor for his push to get an ordinance to LNL, but I want to recognize you're in my conversations. If you don't need to come to LNL, don't. If you can just do things, do it. I know you're a doer, and I don't want you to be slowed down by coming back to us, but obviously, if there's anything we can be doing to agendize and help, we want to do that, because I went with Megan Van Voorhees, who's in the back, our director of coaching. We were at the Torch Club on a Sunday night listening to essentially an open mic band singing thing happen that I can't fully describe, and it was so cool. And I was and we went to see what new things were happening in the music industry so that we can understand what we need to be doing to help out. And a lot of it is getting out of the way, as you mentioned, and making it easier for people to do little pop-up events and to make things happen so that if there's busking on K Street, you're going to feel more comfortable walking down K Street. You're going to have people you see, you're going to hear music, you're going to get to see people you can't see anywhere else in the country because they live here in Sacramento, and that makes me really, really excited. So if you don't need us, go forth and conquer. I know you will, but I'm really hoping that if you do need something at LNL, and obviously working with the mayor's team, I want to be sure to agendize that and move that, and I'm sure my colleagues will be excited to hear those items as well so that we can be helpful in making this a reality. So thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Valenzuela. Councilmember Kaplan. I'm sorry, what did I?
So Tina, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for also spending time with me in District 1, North Natomas. Most people don't, connect North Natomas and downtown. So I know that this was, small and mighty, and you just doubled your staff, but I was curious, because a majority of the nightlife is centered downtown, Midtown, what has been the outreach to other parts of our city?
Well, for the study, we actually did just focus on downtown and midtown because of that. But as we go forward with any of the recommendations, we're going to do it citywide. And especially once we open it up to having the limited entertainment permits, what I really see happening is some of those areas where it might have been a little bit more cumbersome if you are a pizza shop or you're an art gallery or a coffee shop and you want to do music, those are going to be out beyond the borders of the central city. So as we do the recommendations, we're definitely going to continue to do outreach to the different districts. I'm always open to anyone that wants to have me come and talk to a PBID, a neighborhood association, a business group in terms of what they want to do. One of the things that's really nice in this current role is being able to be more proactive and do outreach, because before I was more regulatory, and so my job was really to issue permits. But now it's really being able to provide people with education in terms of if they want to have more entertainment in their areas, how they can do and what are some of the things that they might want to consider, because we've understood the challenges and things that maybe didn't work in the central city. We can help them to avoid some of the issues and concerns that might have happened there. So I'm always open to meet with anyone who invites me.
Perfect, thank you. And then, the title is Sacramento Social City Assessment. So I just want to advocate, because it wasn't long ago, that having very young children, sociable meant 5 p.m., at home by 7 p.m., but parents with young kids still want sociable entertainment, still have disposable income. So I understand our nighttime, but what about our parents and our community members where we look at sociable? Don't forget about us. New parents need to get out and have entertainment and join in on that entertainment, even so much as we go to dinner and somebody is playing in the corner. That exposure to young kids and babies is needed. So, so don't forget about families with kids. Please don't make it just night, because I guarantee you, I hear the chirping of my seniors saying, what about me? I like the 2:00 B Street Theater show. Why don't we have that in other parts of the city, and advocate for that? This is about sociable of the entire city, as we just made a big change last action with zoning. I know many in my community don't want to come downtown. So how do we bring and integrate sociable in our neighborhoods? And like, as you said, our pizza shops, our restaurants and our venues, how do we make it easy and open and so that they can have people come out and just have some nighttime entertainment there? But thank you for all your hard work, and I look forward to getting more of entertainment out in my district.
Thank you. And I would tell you that my title is a little bit of a misnomer, because I work really closely in this new capacity with special events, and a lot of stuff happens during the day. So I would probably say it's more of a sociable economy position, because not everything, as you said, happens at night. And a lot of our big festivals, Aftershock, Golden Sky, they are all day long.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I also get help a lot by Gen Xers. They're really looking for a place to get their groove on. So Gen Xers are always talking to me about where they want to go find a place to go out as well. They're like, it's not just the 20-somethings, we want to go out. So yeah, so there's a lot of people that want to go out and do things.
As a member of that community, I agree.
Thank you. Councilmember Talamantes.
Thank you, Mayor. Tina, incredible work to you and your team. Keep it up. And I'm just really appreciative of you mentioning Northgate in your State of the City comments when this was first introduced. Like, thank you for being mindful of areas outside the downtown core. And I do agree with Councilmember Kaplan on it being a sociable city by daytime too. I like to be home at 10 p.m. So I appreciate you and just like making sure that we're incorporating it all. Like by nighttime is not the only time. People like to go out during the day and be home at a reasonable hour. So I'm really supportive of the streamlining efforts and the permitting to make it easier for our organizers to do events in Sacramento and to show us their talents and to bring more artists here to Sacramento. And I know I have a future Taco Truck Plaza that I will be using, and hopefully using the new policies with this to bring music and to bring people. We hosted our first event recently with Service Elandia, and it was a tremendous success. It was the first time in the history of our community where something was done in that little block of the neighborhood. And it was beautiful to see families and to see individuals and everyone just having a good time. and I hope to do a lot more of that. I am the neighbor of Discovery Park, so I do get a lot of constituent concerns about, noise levels or parking in residential neighborhoods, or when the fencing is taken down, the nails left on the bike trails, and people having flat tires. And I do get a lot of concerns, and a lot of the organizers have done a good job in sending postcards out to neighbors with a hotline and a number for them to contact. But I do think that a good neighbor policy for these type of events and setting a standard of what you should do a few weeks out before the event would be a really good idea. It's important to make sure that we're good neighbors. So happy to support this and see if you can look into our good neighbor policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, great work, great focus, and always striving to achieve the right balance that includes public safety. Always must include public safety. And so as I look at this, and the top recommendation is to lay a foundation, and the recommendations underneath this are to create multiple levels of entertainment permits and create a one-stop shop for city social economy related permits. And so this is the second such survey and study. The first was the music survey, which was focused on music. And of course, I chose, to elevate that issue by making it my first State of the City address, and laid out some very specific recommendations based upon the report and study. And I'd like to know when the specific ordinances, as necessary, as Councilmember Valenzuela said, what can be done administratively, that's great, but the ordinances and our resolutions, when are they actually going to come back to the City Council? Because sometimes there can be a disconnect, sometimes unintentional, between the policymakers who we follow your lead and are told, well, we need these following changes in order to further our mission, get out there on it, and then it goes into a little bit of a uncertain place. And I just want to ask and use this opportunity, since this is the top recommendation of this particular survey, when that may come back to the City Council for us to consider the changes.
I think probably sometime in early 2024 would be reasonable, probably January and February. You don't really have a lot of meetings over the next few months, and we need to work with the City Attorney's Office to identify the language. We had an initial meeting with the City Attorney that supports the entertainment code and the entertainment permit, and so we're going to identify just what needs to happen in terms of some simple code changes. So we're looking at that. So we're probably hoping, and I think if there's the will of the chair of the L&L committee to bypass that committee, that's a step that's taken.
I respect the committee's prerogative, of course, yes, but.
So I think probably having to talk with our city attorney, but there wasn't anything that seemed that it was cumbersome, because what we're looking at is looking at just what are the key elements within the code that would be necessary to make that change. So overall, there's some overarching change to the code that we may need to make for some of the other issues, but we're really looking at that one element, what do we need to do for that? And again, we could probably do that pretty efficiently. So again, probably sometime January, February, we could be able to come back with some language and be able to put some recommendations.
Thank you. So I would just offer, if there are any log jams or, and you need my conference room to, with council and all and this or that, I'd be happy to help. If it helps, just because I just, my time is getting short here, and this is a big initiative, and I just want to make sure that the changes are made so that we can start realizing, the product of the work that I think is that you're doing. That's so important.
No, and that's why it's one of the things that we elevated and included in the report, because as you saw, there were a number of different recommendations, and any one of them we could have said is one of the things we wanted to do initially, and this is one of the ones that, again, we wanted to make sure that we elevated it as well.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay. Is this an action item, or is this is just receive and file? It's been received and filed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tina and team. Great job. All right. Let's take public testimony on items not on the agenda.
Do we have a city manager's report this evening?
This at the city manager's report.
Let me
Mario.
Let me look at this. Yeah, let's do it.
You want to do that first, or public comment from items not on the agenda?
I'd like to do public comment on items not on the agenda
Perfect.
first,
I have
okay?
15 speakers. We'll read off a few names.
Thank you.
Lambert, Robert Copeland, Jimmy Adderson, Mary Tapple. Lambert. And while Mr. Davis makes his way up, I do want to remind members of the public, you have 2 minutes to address the council. The timer is on screen. And so that everyone has the opportunity to address the council, members of the public are asked to observe
Mr.
the
Davis.
rules of decorum. The council rules of procedure outline decorum inspected in the chambers and can be found on our website. Mr. Davis?
Yes, I want to put this up there.
Go ahead and start, and then I can pull it up.
Yeah. My name is Lambert Davis, and before Thanksgiving, a couple things major happened, and the city should be thrilled about it. Just before Thanksgiving, To the Bay and Back Cheesecakes was approached by a tremendous group of millennials. You hear that a lot, but it's really amazing what they're doing with the baby boomer, because they have guided me to Instagram, they've guided me to TikTok. And I had no idea what that was, but I do now. And so it took off during and before and Thanksgiving. And then right after that, and I want this to go on the record, is that Grant High School won the city championship again. And it's very difficult to win the championship. They won it again. This last Friday, shout out to the Sacramento Bee for covering that. And I think this time, because it's so difficult to win a championship, I don't think people really realize that some things should be different this time. Last time they had photo ops and things like that. This time, these teenagers should be rewarded. They should be rewarded with going to the games at Golden One. They should get tickets there. Their parents should go. And just wonderful accomplishment by those teenagers. And this last thing, this is one of the reasons why I promote Minty Cuppy, because this shows her ability to get it done under pressure. It actually shows a violation, and they found it, and they were able to correct it. And so that's what that's about. And I want to end by saying she should get a raise. She should be off for 4 years, 2024. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Our next speaker is Robert Copeland. I don't see Mr. Copeland. Jimmy Adderson. And following Jimmy is Mary Tapple.
Hello, nice to see you guys again. I'm here to propose the idea to expand the Sacramento PD transparency to where we can reach out to the public and let the public know what's going on in our community. Here's an example. I'm probably not sure you can see it through digital, but it's basically showing that CHP already has a database so you can set up and you can see what's going on. Like right here, time, date, a call, like a number that you can find out what's going on. Project like on the 50, hit and run injury, no injuries. You can click on this and get more details by going in here, and you can see a location. I'm sorry, my signal might be a little slow, but the point is what I'm saying is I want in like district in our South area community, North communities, we really want the community to know what's going on in our area. By if you see some red and blue lights and you're worried about if something might happen with your family, you want to know, it might give you issues saying, hey, please stay inside, lock all your doors, instead of having our helicopter and try to announce it. Have it an area where the city and our community can actually reach out and see what's going on. So again, that's all I can pretty much say is looking to expand the transparency that the city can go out to their community members.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mary Tapple, then Cliff Valencia.
Hello, Mayor Steinberg, members of the council and city staff. I'm here again to speak about the need for continued public safety and public health cleanups, particularly in the immediate adjacent areas to embedded homeless camps or entrenched homeless camps. a vast majority of our resident citizens and visitors alike need these cleanups to continue, because there are a lot of these areas where there's huge amounts of unsanitary garbage and also things that are flammable, and accumulations of human and dog fecal matter. They are right in public areas. And consider if you knew somebody who had fallen into homelessness, say after they got hit by one of our all too frequent hit and run drivers in North Sacramento, someone that used to have their life together, maybe an extended family of your own, an old friend, someone who was a classmate of yours decades ago, and say they were then put on, they needed painkillers because of the results of their injuries and got addicted to them and fell into homelessness by losing their job, losing their health insurance, losing their housing. Would you really want them to stay in a place that hadn't been cleaned up, such as this? Is there a way this could be turned on? A place such as this, or, and it's possible that this one has been cleaned up. I haven't been out there a while to see, but these places are not good for anyone who anyone really cares about and knows can get back their life. This is much better. You know, once the places have been cleaned up, it helps absolutely everybody, as well as protecting everybody's rights and safety. Now, fire, once it starts, it just burns the fuel. It puts everyone in extreme danger. There's often very large pounds of flammable material, and the fires are started all the time near here. It's very dangerous to not have
Thank
these
you for your
cleanups.
comments. Our next speaker is Cliff Valencia. Following Cliff is Stephanie Boatwright and Tyler Diddy.
Good evening. My name is Cliff Valencia. I don't have no proposal or nothing. I'm just here. I want to ask the city council, the mayor. I just recently got out of federal custody. I just finished doing 9 years in prison. And upon my release, you know, before getting released, I started taking programs in prison to become a drug counselor. And since I've been out, you know, I recently lost my son to fentanyl overdose. And before I went to prison, you know, the fentanyl epidemic was nowhere around. And now, anywhere you go, you see people on fentanyl. You know, you could drive around and you see people getting high on the streets. You know, there's times where I'm driving around and I see police officers, and the people are literally getting high on the streets and they don't do nothing. You know, before, if you were to be smoking marijuana or driving with a broken, cracked windshield, you would get pulled over, you would get, you know, a ticket, citation, whatever. When you went to county jail or whatever for using drugs in the late 90s and early 2000s, they would not let you out unless you went to a SLE, which is a sober living environment. And I don't know if they're still doing that now. But my question to you guys is, what are you guys doing for the people of Sacramento? What kind of programs, what are you guys offering all the addicts out there? You know, I've talked to a couple security guards from where my son passed away, and if he would have had some Narcan, my son would have survived. If you guys were to implement just the same way the security guards
Thank you for your
use,
comments. Your time is
tasers,
complete.
they should be able to carry a Narcan.
Can we make sure that somebody has a conversation with the gentleman here so that we might be able to, who is that? Mr. Lotta, yeah, please, we don't want to turn you after, I know it's a 2-minute requirement, but I just see if we can make follow-up and help the gentleman, okay?
Thank you. Our next speakers are Stephanie Boatwright, Tyler Diddy, then Kyle Williams.
How you doing? I'm actually here to second our speaker who was here a second ago.
We could go together.
Yeah, this is Stephanie. This is the mother. I'm actually a best friend of Isaiah. Really, what I'm here for is to ask for more resources for the people in the community. Back when I was going to school, we had like Red Ribbon Week and stuff like that. I feel like that's kind of died down a little bit. My focus is more so the children. There's middle schoolers. Fentanyl doesn't discriminate. You can't see it, touch it, smell it, and 3 grains of salt is enough to kill you as a lethal dose. And that's what they're putting it in Skittles, candies. They're sprinkling it in the marijuana. They're offering it to kids. Kids are at parks. People are just walking up offering stuff, and it's fentanyl in it. And nobody knows. These kids aren't knowing what they're taking.
Someone's dying every 11 minutes with this drug.
It's pretty
my
quick.
life is forever changed. I don't have my child no more.
Sorry. I started something where I hand out thousands of Narcans for free. They charge $80. They charge a grip in CVS's, corner stores, these over the marketplaces. This stuff should be free, and there is a lot of places who give it out for free. Don't get me wrong. But the fact that they're still selling it, it just makes me cringe a little bit. You know what I mean? I hand out fentanyl test strips all the time. My main focus is awareness, and that's what I push in my community is awareness. I want people to be aware of what's going on. If you're aware, I feel like we might be able to prevent it a little bit. You know what I mean? And then my main goal is resources for people like the families who is broken. Yeah, we lost somebody, but now she has to continue to live, and it's hard for her to continue on her day-to-day basis. It's hard for the father who just got out of prison to continue on a day-to-day basis on a straight path after losing their son to something like a fentanyl overdose. I mean, it's a disaster. It's literally a disaster.
I want to ask you a question because the time is almost up, so I just want to extend it just a minute. Where would you put it for people to have the Narcan? The easier access.
What this right here is, I feel like how they do CPR classes. There should be a opioid type of class for people to understand the signs of an overdose, what an overdose is. They're putting it in everything, and then how to administer it. You know what I mean? It's not too hard. It's super simple. Just like people doing CPR, you see somebody on the street, you can go save their life with just.
But that's the only thing
this.
that can save a life right now. This epidemic.
Okay. Well,
That would have saved my son.
This is it.
You're coming to the city council is really important. No, it is, and it's given us something to think about. We can't debate it tonight or discuss it at length, but we're going to talk about this. And I see Chief Castamagna in the back here. I think we're going to find a way to bring this up. Okay?
Appreciate it. You'll
Thank
see us
you.
again.
Thank you so
Definitely
much.
see us again.
Thank you for coming tonight. Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you for your
Very sorry.
consideration.
We're very sorry. Okay.
Kyle Williams, Jessica Davila, and then Jay Eldon.
How's everybody today? Thank you for your service, I'd like to start off by saying. And how's the backhand? Okay. I came here tonight to kind of give you an idea about me, because I plan to be up here and watch this city blossom back to what it was when I moved here in 2000. So I want to keep coming in, and I want to make sure that you understand that I'm not a Republican. But I might look like one. But I'm not a Democrat either. I'm an independent. And most of this country actually is an independent. Just like the Republicans have been telling you, your media is lying to you, they don't tell you that 42% of America is registered as an independent. Largest party by far. About 30% are Democrat, 30% are Republican. Most of the country is registered as an independent. Largest party by far. Nobody tells you this because your government lies to you.
What's the city issue you want to talk about, Kyle?
I just want to make sure that you understand who I am, so that when I talk about city issues in the future, they'll be very familiar with me, because I don't want to see. I've been generalized all my life, okay, and I want men and women to work together in a partnership and not dependence. So the real romance is in that, not in, There's an amazing amount of, again, I think you were gone for the first time I said it. Women were down here years ago, and men were up here. Now women are up here, and men are down here.
No.
We need to get to equality.
Oh, Kyle.
We need to get to what is truly equal. That's what we need to get to. That would solve all our problems if we had men and women, Democrats and Republicans, working.
Okay.
Our next speaker is Jessica.
Time is up.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker is Jessica Davia, Jay Eldon, and then Devontae Morris.
See you later.
Thank you. And I'm not going away.
I'm sure you're not. Go ahead.
Jessica, Jay Eldon. Okay, Jay?
Yeah. I'm here to talk about the recent sweeps in Sacramento. A sweep is when the city police come to a camp and a business called Forensic Clean throws away anything that people can't carry away. Usually homeless residents of the camp don't have anywhere to go or a plan for how to save their belongings. I'm appalled by the city's enforcement of encampments. Sweeping 8 camps a day is extreme, and you have a wait list of over 2,000 long for shelter. There's nowhere for people to go. There are so many things I'd like the city to do differently in regards to sweeps and services, but I want to focus on one practice that is becoming more and more common that I'm seeing: the practice of sweeping without giving any prior notice. Yes, that's correct. I've encountered several sweeps in the Midtown, downtown area where no notice was posted, and police showed up and said you have an hour to leave. Historically, the police would post a 72-hour notice. In October, we started to see more 24-hour notices, and now I'm seeing police arriving on site and telling a camp they have 1 hour to move. It's just cruel. I don't like sweeps and can explain why they are immoral, dangerous, illegal, and don't help solve anyone's problem. But I'm here to ask for one thing: a return to 72-hour notice. Can you imagine police showing up, and in 1 hour you have to move your whole life? That's what Officer Hall and his team did on Friday the 17th on T Street under 99 Bridge, the overpass. They came and told everyone they had 1 hour to leave. There was one resident who had a mental episode, saying he didn't want to be in the rain. Do you remember the rain that weekend, Friday the 17th? He threatened to end his own life with an axe. This instigated a 3 to 4 hour standoff with over 20 police vehicles, attack dogs, a drone, a negotiator, and all surrounding one man's tent. His family arrived and we were restricted from crossing police tape, but I stood with them in terror as armed officers pointed lethal firearms at the tent. It was traumatic for everyone.
Thank you for your comments. Your time is complete. Our next speaker is Devontae Morris, then Christina Juarez. Devontae Morris, Christina, then Chativa Suri. Assuming you're Christina, not Devontae.
Yes,
Thank
Christina.
you.
I'm here, and we have a bunch of Viva employees, if you guys would stand. We're here to support Sean. There was a lot of stuff that's been said about him. I worked with him. I've been an employee for 17 years, so I know they're saying he's a bad person, but having employees work 17 years, you're not that bad, you know? I mean, he's great. He's wonderful. You need something, he's there. If my daughter has epilepsy, if I call him and say, she's having an episode, I gotta go, he runs. You know, he's like, go, I'll be there. I just want to say there's a lot of stuff that's not being said about him that is the truth. And a lot that is being said is false. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Chativa, Sayed, and then Rosalinda.
Hello, everybody. I'm just helping her as she is talking in different language, so I'm helping her.
سلام، من خاطره صافی هستم، کارمند ویوا رستوران، ویوا سوپرمارکت.
Her name is Khatra, and she works in Viva Supermarket.
من بسیار 2 سال میشه کار میکنم، هیچ مشکلی نویا ندارم، افتخار بسیار زیاد میکنم، در تایم کاری من هیچ مشکلی نیست.
She's working since like 2 years in Viva Supermarket, and she's really happy there, and she doesn't have any problem with like schedules and.
دیگه وقت طفلای به مکتب میبرم اجازه میدن، وقتی که میایم هیچ مشکلی یا ندارم. بسیار راضی هستم از
She says her schedules are flexible. Even she can take her kids to home, to school and back to home.
وقتی که ما میخوایم که بیایم نگه بسیار زیاد کار ما خوب است کارمندا منیجر رئیس همگی روی خوبی دارم روی ما
She's really happy with the management behavior. So she says the managers, the workers, the other associates are really good with her.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So,
I won't take your time. My name is Saeed, and I'm a former worker of Viva Supermarket. I'm just telling you like my experience. I want to share my experience working as a former employee at Viva Supermarket, a place that not only values its employee but also deeply respects their personal lives. One of the most remarkable aspects of working there was an incredible flexible schedule that they offered me with my children's school timetable. This consideration showed me how much they value work-life balance. What made my time there truly special was work environment. It was more than just a job. I felt like being a part of community that supports and uplifts each other. The management's understanding among colleagues created a workplace where I worked forward to work there with a great pleasure. I'm really proud that I was a part of such an organization. My tenure there was not just about earning a living. It was a journey of growth, learning, and being a part of a team that prioritized the well-being of its members. The experience and the values I gained there have a long-lasting impact on my career and myself. And I'm sure all of these guys have like good memories of like being working in Viva Supermarket. I'm sure there's no time, but everybody has a good memory. And I have also a good memory. I am not working right now, but I came here to just tell you one of my experience. Thank you, guys.
Es Rosalinda.
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Rosalinda. Vengo en representación de la compañía de la Viva Supermarketing. Yo tengo 7 años trabajando para la Viva. Yo estoy agradecida por nuestro líder. Es una persona muy respetuosa que siempre está cuidando de su trabajo, de nosotros. Él no se mete para nosotros con nada, al contrario, nos apoya. De verdad, thank you. Gracias. Buenas noches.
Vice Mayor, would you mind translating?
Sure. She said she's Rosalinda. She's worked at Viva Supermarket for 7 years. She's grateful for the opportunity to work there. The management there has been very respectful, caring, and she's enjoys the work there and appreciates the time tonight.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you all for coming out.
I know it's policy, but I would like to ask for about 10 seconds.
Go ahead.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Wow. I can't tell you enough what a great night this is. I've had 2 major events in my life. When the Lord blessed me with my firstborn, my son, and then again I was blessed with our beautiful daughter. And tonight, that makes it 3 major events in my life. When I see you wonderful people here, some of you are coming from work. Some of you, I know you were there at 5 o'clock this morning. And when I see all of you guys, I'm kind of concerned who's running the business right now, but that's a whole different conversation. But I cannot tell you how appreciative I am for your support during these challenging times. We stand together, we work together, we're one big family. And this move here tonight, what a great slap across the face of the naysayer, the liars, the con artists that have tried to become part of our situation and become relevant. I appreciate you for being here tonight. And together we can accomplish a lot and we can get over these obstacles. I love you all. Thank you so much. Viva la vida.
Council ideas and questions. Councilmember, what's that? Oh.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'll wait for the PowerPoint slides to pop up. I don't see the clicker. Honorable Mayor and Council, this is the weekly data report for Incident Management Team activities for week of November 20 through November 26. Response activities fall under three main areas: outreach, enforcement, and cleanup. There were 138 new calls requesting services related to homelessness. Thank you. 595 pending calls were closed with 14 compliance actions. Over 262,000 pounds of trash and over 1,100 needles were removed from public spaces. This slide provides you with a little bit more detailed breakdown of the types of 311 calls for homeless services that we received. In addition, it provides you with a year-to-date figure. However, recall that the incident management team was launched on September 1st of this year, and staff has been fine-tuning how to collect this data. But as you can see, since January, over 41,000 homeless services-related calls have been responded to and closed out, resulting in more than 9.2 million pounds of trash and over 47,000 needles being picked up. Staff is continuing to clear through backlogs of old calls in the system. Outreach efforts resulted in 40 individuals being newly enrolled into HMIS and 11 referrals to the Coordinated Access System. There is a significant waiting list for individuals and families for shelter placement. There were 27 rapid placements at either Miller Park or OEC during this last week. As of this morning, we had 19 units, 16 tents, and 3 trailers at Miller Park Safe Camping available, and 8 spaces available at the Outreach and Engagement Center on Auburn Boulevard. Enforcement or compliance activities are summarized here. Impact teams visited 8 locations and closed 595 calls. Voluntary compliance was obtained to address sidewalk obstruction, excess storage, critical infrastructure violations, and unlawful camping. Code enforcement teams tagged 195 vehicles and towed 27 vehicles this last week. And park rangers conducted compliance activities responding to over 80 calls for services. All of this information is now available via a dashboard on the city's website under the Responding to Homelessness page on the city's website. I'd like to give a special thanks to Ash Rongani, who's a project manager that assisted our public information officer, Tim Swanson, to make the dashboard available, along with staff from IT and DCR and all of the responding departments who make these actions possible and this update possible. Happy to answer any questions you may have. Thank you.
I think it's just important that these continue to be weekly brief reports and get in that habit. It'll start showing some cumulative impact. Obviously, we want more complete information on partnership with the county as well, the full service partnerships, the outreach teams, more geography in terms of where the teams are working and the success of some of the outreach. Obviously, the incident command structure is having an impact in a positive way. And, not but, and there's more to it. Okay? Thank you. All right, council ideas and questions. Councilmember Valenzuela.
Thank you. Actually, my first question is for Mario, not for tonight necessarily, because I don't know if you can give the update tonight. But in addition to the numbers that you cited, I think it's important to note that I've been notified of several believed to be unhoused people who have died in recent weeks of quote-unquote natural causes, which could be anything from cold to illness to what have you. And so I do want to ask the city management team for an update on the status of opening additional sites. There's a lot of reasons people will say no to Miller Park. They're worried the river's too cold. They might know people there that they don't get along with. I could run the list, but I think part of this new model was supposed to be coupling with scaling up of capacity, and that number of just thousands of people who are on wait lists, it just haunts me, and a night as cold as this, and even knowing the Outreach and Engagement Center is open. So I would love to get more of an update from the city management team about the status of the authorization we gave to open more sites as soon as possible.
Noted, council member, and I do believe that we have an update coming up fairly shortly here. The Outreach and Engagement Center was open for 6 days recently due to the weather respite, but yes, I understand that
I
you would
appreciate
like
that.
an update
And I
on
appreciate why it's hard for people to get there, and why there's, just a need for more geographic sites around town, which is why I've asked the question. So thank you for that. I'll pivot to an announcement, a more fun announcement, because we are starting our annual toy drive for children at CB Circle and New Helvetia, which are two of the largest public housing complexes in the district. There are hundreds, literally 800 kids under the age of 18 who live at that one of those two complexes south of Broadway. We are accepting any present, unwrapped, preferably between $10 and $15, ideally, for children all the way up to age 17. We do give a gift to young people even when they're 17 years old, because we think that's important. And we will have a bin here at City Hall, or folks can contact our office if they want to contribute so that we can make sure those kids have a happy holiday season. So that's my only announcement. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Valenzuela. Mayor Pro Tem Vang.
Thank you so much. I just have 3 announcements. The first one is this upcoming Saturday at the Pinnell Community Center. We're doing a free holiday meal giveaway hosted by Chef Mike and the Chew in partnership with our office, and also the Lions Club International District 4/C5 and YPSI, our amazing Pinnell staff. So we're going to be serving hot meals from 3 to 7 o'clock at the Sam and Bonnie Pinnell Community Center. So really encouraging the community or residents in the close by area to stop by and get a free meal. And then I also wanted to announce that we have a free chess club class hosted by Rhonda Henderson, who is the president of the North Laguna Creek Valley High Community Association. Just encouraging folks, if you want to learn how to play chess, stop by. This program is for children K-12 and adults. For more information, you can call 916-409-6729. And that actually happens at the Mack Road Valley High Community Center off of 7833 Center Parkway. And then lastly, I just have an AB 1234 report. Just wanted to announce that this other past weekend, I had the opportunity to attend a conference, the National API Elected Official Summit, where Asian American Pacific Islander elected officials across the United States gathered in San Francisco, really to talk about representation and best practices of governance in local jurisdiction. And so it was a really great conference. I wanted to make sure that I reported on that. And I think that's it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Vang. Councilmember Talamantes.
So this Friday, we're having a tree lighting at the South Natomas Community Center, hosted by the Natomas Chamber of Commerce and YPSI, which I'm really excited about. And on next Friday, on December 8th, and then December 14th and 15th, we're bringing back Santa Natomas. Our now Senator Ashby brought this beautiful tradition to Natomas, and I'm excited for the 10th year in North Natomas and the first year for South Natomas and West Natomas. So really excited to work with our fire department, our police department to bring holiday joy.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Talamantes. Councilmember Kaplan.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. It is a One Natoma, so you'll see me there with Councilwoman Talamantes at the tree lighting this Friday. And then if you want to join in and, we talk about needing more tree canopy, we have some tree planting at Regency Park on Saturday, December 2nd. And then everyone in your family, spread the word. You're invited on Sunday, December 10th. Natomas is hosting a District 1 Winter Wonderland, and we actually rented, and we are having an ice skating rink that can fit 50 people, that there will be free ice skating all day, as well as visits with all of our holiday characters, holiday vendors, activities, live performances, and more. And then just so, because Natomas likes to get confused, parts of North Natomas, South Natomas, and Northgate follow Santa in Natomas. And if you want North Natomas and Robla, follow Santa in D1. We will be out there on December 8th, 9th, 15th, and 16th. And what is really I'm proud to have along this year is we are partnering with the Intercom Public Safety Institute, and the Intercom fire truck is going to be coming out with us as well. So come join and follow along.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Kaplan. Councilmember Jennings.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. This Friday from 6 to 7 p.m. at the Greenhaven Soccer Club, Assemblymember Stephanie Nguyen and the Kennedy High School Women's Soccer Program and District 7 is hosting a soccer clinic. It's a soccer skills clinic. This is especially for children ages 4 through 13 who ate far too much turkey during the Thanksgiving and they need lots of exercise, right? So it's $25 per student, rain or shine. Soccer fun is under the lights and all skill levels at the John F. Kennedy High School. The proceeds will go to the Sacramento Food Bank and Family Services for those who didn't do the Run for the Hungry. This is another opportunity for you to make a donation to the Sacramento Food Bank because they're doing great things to give food for those who need it the most. So it's going to benefit the Sacramento Food Bank and Family Services as well as the Kennedy High School Women's Soccer Program. Once again, that's this Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Kennedy High School. Additionally, we have a toy drive on Saturday, December the 2nd, from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Greenhaven at the School of Engineering and Sciences, which is located at 7345 Gloria Drive. All toys will go to families that won't have Christmas unless we give them Christmas. We give them the toys and give them to the families in need. And the organization that's organizing the toys that go to the needy families is an organization called Outside the Walls. They've been doing this now with us for the last 3-4 years, and so they've been doing a great job. We prefer unwrapped toys, but we'll take whatever we can get because we want to help those families that need it the most. If you have any questions, visit our social media pages for everything related to District 7. Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Jennings. One quick announcement here, 4:30 this Thursday, the Power In Alliance is having their monthly Power Hour, and where they celebrate and highlight a particular business or industry or community in the Power In corridor. And we're celebrating and recognizing the California Mobility Center this Thursday and all the work and training people into the next careers to address zero emission mobility and making sure that we have our transportation solutions are focused on our climate change solutions in our environment. And then, credit is due or credit is earned, and so I'd like to congratulate the Aggies on a win, in the Causeway Classic.
Go Aggies!
But still, I'd also like to congratulate the Hornets on continuing in their playoff season. And for those that want to see the Hornets continue to win a state championship, this December 2nd at 11 a.m., unfortunately, is going to be at South Dakota. So, also, I think in the spirit of football season, big respects and props to our Pacers, for their amazing season. And thank the school, coach, and all the families and boosters out there who are bringing in some amazing leaders. With that, members of the council, that concludes our agenda. We do have one adjourned in memory by Councilmember Maple. Councilmember Maple.
Thank you, Vice Mayor, and I'll please direct your attention to the screen up here. I would like to adjourn in memory tonight of the late, great former District 5 Councilmember Callie Carney, who passed on November 4th of this year and just had her funeral services at Shiloh Baptist, the street that I live on today. In 1975, Ms. Carney shattered barriers as the first Black woman appointed to the Sacramento City Council, thereby pioneering a path for others. She was appointed to the seat after Philip Eisenberg vacated it upon being elected as the city's mayor. Despite an electoral setback in 1977, her commitment to community endured. She dedicated herself to the Oak Park community, notably serving as the executive director of the Women's Civic Empowerment Center for many years, still in Oak Park. Her extensive service included notable roles as the executive director of the Oak Park Neighborhood Council and community services coordinator for Sacramento Housing and Redevelopment Agency, or SHRA. She is also a member of various organizations such as the United Way, the Greater Sacramento Urban League, the Black American Political Association of California, the Sacramento NAACP, solidifying her status as a highly respected and influential figure within her community. Callie was passionate about advocating for the prevention of young Black men from entering the criminal justice system and was a charter member of the Sacramento Valley section of the National Council of Negro Women. Her remarkable contributions were recognized when the stage in McClatchy Park was renamed Callie Carney Amphitheater in 2012, a fitting tribute to her over 40 years of dedicated service to the community. Her legacy endures, and she's a powerful inspiration, compelling us all to strive toward a better future for everyone. And I really just want to say it makes me emotional because she is so well respected and known in the community. There's not a single person, including our district director, Michael Benjamin II, who doesn't know or have stories about her. I wanted to share something fun that he shared from attending her funeral today, which was that almost every person stood up and had a story about if they ever got on her wrong side. She was definitely the one to stand up and tell you what was right and what was wrong, and that was something that people really respected about her. So just really want to adjourn tonight in her legacy and in her memory.
Thank you, Councilmember Maple. I think the start of the meeting, advocating and fighting for women's rights, and adjourning today on behalf of a member of this dais. Today we adjourn the meeting November 28, 2023, 8:44 p.m. on behalf of the Honorable Councilmember Callie Carney. We are adjourned.
Good job. Yeah, that was, yeah, I hope. She